One.
I'd like to thank my friends at Giorgio Armani for loaning me this. Please tell all good Lord.
It's time for slime.
1, 2, 3. It really got you.
Nick, Nickelodeon.
Nice.
Hey guys, what's
Nice.
up? Welcome to Tier Ranker Fights. This is episode 17. If you can't tell already about all the classic clips of people getting slimed, we're doing best and worst classic Nickelodeon TV shows. So yeah, so we're going to cover everything from classic Nickelodeon. We're going to have a focus on stuff before 2010. So I mean, we're not doing any of the real new stuff, but yeah. So yeah, we'll just go around the horn and I'll introduce everyone. So we got my co-host that's filling in today for Chris. He's out of town on a little anniversary trip. So we got Austin Pez. Howell, how you doing?
I'm good, man. Happy to be co-hosting. It's my topic and pick, so hopefully I will live up to the expectations. Hopefully it'll be a good show. And in honor of filling in for Chris Scott, what I'm going to do tonight is go full bad taste. I will nominate all F-level shows for S tier. That's what I'm going to go
Right,
for.
sounds good.
And then I'll be the only one who thinks that. So we'll do that for sure.
Yeah, right. We'll make it a little easier to only have one Chris here tonight. So we got Chris Diaz. How you doing?
Doing good. Before I wrote a trivia league, Nickelodeon, which I grew up in the 90s, all the way up to middle high school. They after Avatar the last time, I kind of stopped watching Nickelodeon stuff, but I love Nickelodeon in my blood. Just so many shows I grew up watching with a passion.
Yeah, right. Yeah, there's a lot of classics. It'll be a fun debate, but we also have Brian Nussbaum, aka Cowboy Cookie, tonight. How you doing?
Yeah. It's going good. Great to be back on here. Talk about what I grew up with, the past, with all the great Nickelodeon shows, and hoping to see what we come up with for the S tier.
Yeah, for sure, and we'll probably have a couple people maybe popping in a little bit, so we'll maybe see maybe one or two more people jump in a little bit. So, but we're just gonna go for it. So,
hey Jordan, can I do one thing before we start? Can we go around the horn and give everybody's age and what year they were born, just so we know what perspective you're coming from as far as Nickelodeon and what era you grew up with? So I'll start. Sure. I am 35 and I was born in 86, so I'm very much like a pretty much straight 90s Nickelodeon guy for the most part. A little bit into the 2000s, but mostly late 80s to early 2000s. So we'll go around the horn.
Yeah. But I'm the same way. I was born in 1985, so I'm pretty much straight 90s. I mean, I watched a little bit in the 80s slightly, and a little bit in the 2000s slightly. And I also had a younger sister, which out of 5 kids, she was the youngest, so I was able to watch a few more of the recent shows. I know we're not going to get too into the super recent stuff, but I kind of watched it like a little longer than maybe most people would at that age, but just because it was always on in our house. But yeah, so that's my.
Right. How about Mr. Diaz? What do you got?
I am 89. I was born in 1991, so I was born during Nickelodeon. Like, and to up. Probably around Avatar Legend Korra when I stopped watching Nickelodeon. I did some stuff on V1. I catch SpongeBob every now and then, but the new stuff.
So you're like early 2000s on mostly, right? Or late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah. But I also seen a lot of the other stuff, like rerun, like Mako and a couple other shows that started.
Well, in reruns, because to be fair, all the '90s stuff they reran for a long
Yeah.
time, so everybody was watching that stuff. Yeah, for sure. All
Yeah,
right,
but I
how
do
about
want to
Brian?
say too that
Well, that's Jordan talk first.
No, go ahead.
So you mentioned Avatar and Korra. Those are two incredible shows, but we're not including them. So just before anyone says anything, because we're just focusing on the classics, but we do recognize those as potential classics. Like they're really good. So I mean, they'll be classics in about 5-10 years from now. So
Did it come out before 2010?
Yeah,
I think so, but I really think it's more of still got like a cult following, not much of a mainstream following right now. So that's kind of why I'm with Jordan on that one. It's still got that cult status, and it hasn't quite reached the mainstream because that movie by M. Night Shyamalan didn't help its case. So it didn't help get new fans, and I actually think it turned a lot of people off of it actually. So unfortunately, but yeah.
And I'm going to try with some that continue to the 2010 to be positive on. To some that I love that dropped down a level because of some of the stuff later on after 2010.
Right.
We're getting to. Right.
Yep, we'll get into it, but
okay.
Yeah,
for me,
for
me, I'm Trey 4. I grew up in most of the 2000s. I was born in 1997, so 2000s is my era.
All right,
gotcha.
Sweet, perfect, and you have to forgive me. So I got home a little late from work, so that's why we're getting started a little late. So I still got my dinner here. You might see me chowing down a little bit, but
it's all good.
Forgive me for that.
It's all good, man.
Just in case you wonder.
It's all right.
Some pizza.
Do what you got to do, sir. We are live and raw, and we just put it out there, man. Let's do it.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm gonna kick it off with the rules. We got some rules here that just kind of make it a little less chaotic. So I'm just gonna throw them. I don't know if they got a little graphic here. So the rules are as follows. Let's have a good, clean fight. Please do not talk or shout over each other. Please do be respectful of others' opinions. Each person will take turns to select a movie, or in this case, a TV show for the ranking. And the person who selected the TV show will have roughly about 2 minutes to explain which tier they think it should go in and why. All other participants will then each have about a minute to say why they agree or disagree and may suggest a new ranking. The host will decide on a ranking that averages out everyone's opinions and ask if the proposed ranking is acceptable. And at that point, we can have a little bit of a debate and just quickly as to where the final ranking should go. So yeah, that's pretty much the rules for how it's going to work. And I'm going to pull up the tier ranker chart here so you can see what we got on the list. Give me one quick minute.
Got close to 50 things I can't even think we came up with, right? So it's a pretty.
I believe we got 46
chart.
or 48.
Yeah, we got close to 50.
Yeah. So I'm going to kind of zoom it out a little bit so we can see it a little better. But let's see. Let me make it so it displays right on my end. All right, perfect. So basically, for anyone who hasn't seen this before, so we got S for superior, and then it just goes A, B, C, D, so on and so forth. And if there's anything in it that all of us haven't seen collectively, we can throw it there. And then we do only allow 10 picks in the S tier. So all the other tiers can have up to 20, but the S tier just does 10. So yeah, that's pretty much.
Well, it's another reason why we were talking about in the chat. Just to make this clear, now we all have nostalgia for these shows, right? So we'll lay that out. This is a very nostalgia-laden show.
Exactly.
We're gonna have to be critical on these S tiers, including myself, and we're gonna have to make some really strong arguments for S tiers because it can't be, we're gonna put 40 shows in there that it's all S tier because I loved it. You gotta really lay out your argument here why it's an S tier show, because I know Nickelodeon has a lot of great shows from back in the day, and we're gonna have to lay out those arguments. So we're gonna have to put a lot of scrutiny on these, even including myself.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we're gonna want to be putting so many in the S tier. Like I was going through my personal list, and like probably like I could make a solid case to put at least 15 to 20 in there. So I really got to be super picky about it, you know. So
Yeah.
but yeah, we'll just go around the horn here. So as the host of the show, I always elect to go last. So
Are we gonna let Chris go first because he's backstage? So
he's backstage. Okay, I was like,
yeah.
Yeah, I just got my computer, but that's why I log on.
Yeah, his mic was a little wonky. His sound was going in and
I
out as he was
agree.
talking. It was kind of dropping a little bit, so we were just trying to get you a little better setup here so we can hear you. Want to make sure we can hear everybody and hear their arguments. For sure.
Yeah, I was looking at. I was like, why does he look all faded out? Like, is there something wrong with his camera? But no, yeah.
He's got the orange slime on him right now. He's got the orange Nickelodeon tent right now.
Yeah, right. Yep. So
for the show.
Yep, we'll start with Chris then. So you'll be the first one. So I'm just gonna come down here. It's a pretty we're not gonna have to scroll too much because we kept it fairly concise. So, but there's anything you want to root for? And you don't have to go for straight S tier. You can go for anything you want.
I do go for straight S tier for a show that I love. That we watch especially because they air a lot on Nick at Night now on Rerun. I'm going to hate on them. This is a show that at first seemed like a regular type of show, but they go into so many interesting themes.
Near the top middle.
Oh yeah, here you go. Okay,
right
there.
Mm-hmm. You got
it. Especially when we watch it, still hit hard a bunch of times with Reddit, the Pigeon Man or the Christmas episode, where his neighbor that gave up his daughter so she could have a better life really hit hard and we watch. And they go into stuff where I feel like it's funny, it's relevant, but also hit at the heart of what Nickelodeon show does. It's both things you've seen show. I mean, the Christmas episode along with Mr. What his neighbor name, Mr. Han? Was it? Like, at that joint where he gave up his daughter.
I don't remember it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she can have a better life, and he's been trying to search for her. When we watch that episode, I get emotional. Like, even after 2010, when they redid it with the movie, the Jungle movie, it was really good. And Nickelodeon, especially them being back show now, would like to see this come back and continue where the movie left off because they leave it open in a good way, unlike other stuff that I would be happy to see everybody come back. Even with the new voice actor was great. The grandparents are very funny. Helga is a great love interest rival. Like her obsession with Anno is just hysterical. But the Sabbath episode great. The parrot episode really good. And everything good. It's such a mature show for something for Nickelodeon that hit hard more for me on rewatch today than it did whenever a kid back then.
Yeah, for sure.
So Hey Arnold.
So Brian, what do you think of Hey Arnold?
For me, I haven't grown up with this show. I've seen some episodes of it online. And I agree, it's a great show, but I wouldn't say S right now. I'll probably say like a B tier.
Okay. You say a B tier. What do you think?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I've seen most of Hey Arnold. I was actually working in a movie theater when the movie came out. So I saw the movie because I saw everything that came out that year because it was all for free, obviously, when you work at the theater. To me, the only thing with Hey Arnold, I agree it's one of the more quality shows that came out of Nickelodeon cartoons. I would definitely put it in, let's say, the top 10 of Nicktoons. But if we're talking about S-tier, all-time great cartoons, I feel like Hey Arnold doesn't get talked about as much as some of the other ones, like a Rugrats or maybe some of the other ones that we're going to talk about. For that reason, I wouldn't quite put it S-tier. I would kind of be more A or B tier because I think it is absolutely A-tier writing and characters and things. It's a very recognizable show, but I don't feel like the show has quite the following or the cultural impact that some of the other ones do. So for that reason, I would bump it down just a notch or two.
Yeah. So we got one more.
Oh, here's my friend Jennifer. Hey, Jay.
Yeah, Jennifer. Hey, how you doing?
Sup, B?
Sup?
Hey. All right. Well, we're happy to have you here to rank some Nickelodeon. We're just getting into it. We only ranked one so far, and we're still kind of debating it a little
Brian
bit.
told me.
Yep. I'm the one that told her about this show, and we're talking about
Nice.
Hey Arnold.
Yep.
We're talking about Hey Arnold. So Diaz nominated it for S tier. Brian's going more from like a B tier for it, and I said either an A or B, and we're kind of debating the merits of whether or not it belongs in S tier. So anything you have to say about Hey
B.
Arnold, Jennifer, just shoot it out.
I would
Yeah.
say B because I would agree with Brian on this. Because B or A. B or A.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. And then for me,
And yeah, what do you say, Jordan?
for my thoughts, like I think I'd give it a solid. I don't know. Well, actually, I could go B or A also. I mean, it's a little tricky sometimes, but like just a little like 2 second story quick. When I was in high school, like I feel kind of bad about this. There was this girl that like had this hair that was like kind of shaped like a football. So whenever we like walk by her in like class or not,
Hey
or in the hall,
Arnold.
yeah, we do exactly that. But we were like, "Hey Arnold," and at first she didn't get it, so we'd say it, and then finally one day she came up. She's like, "Why do you guys always do that?" I'm like, "Hey Arnold," like it's a TV show, and then she goes, "Oh," and kind of looked like she kind of got her feelings hurt. So we kind of stopped after that. Yeah, but
Well, nowadays it would be Hey Stewie from Family Guy.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
iconic football head. Yeah.
Never say this. Like, unlike other shows in here, the only one episode I don't like is Hey Arnold that I hate with passion. And rest of them are quality show. And definitely showed that ended strong. And then when it came back briefly, did have a really good movie that came out.
Yeah,
like
the
2 years
TV
back.
movie was very good.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
For
you know,
sure.
I think none of us are arguing that it's a bad show overall. I think just a lot of us other than you, Diaz, kind of agreed it's a little bit lower than an S tier. So I think an A tier would be fair, only because you nominated it for S, and a lot of us kind of said more of a B tier. So I think if we bump it down to an A, that's pretty fair.
Mm-hmm.
I think A is a solid pick for
Yeah.
Yeah.
just for me because like if you compare it to what else we have on the list, there's some pretty heavy hitters and
There's
like,
some very heavy hitters that I can make stronger
Which
arguments
is
for than
hard
Hey
to-
Arnold.
Same here.
yeah, right.
Mhm.
Yep. So for that reason, we'll go A. But
But it's a
yeah,
quality show, and I think A is a good ranking for Hey Arnold. I think it's definitely up
Exactly.
there. Like I said, if I was going to make a top 10 of Nick tunes of all time, I would probably put Hey Arnold maybe around 8, 9, 10, something like that. So, I mean, it's still a very good quality show. I can't disagree with that.
Yep, for sure. So
And
yeah,
they should really bring it back for Paramount TV. I think definitely one of their shows that could do well continuing where it left off.
Mhm.
For current times, I can see that.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
So Brian, you're up to pick one. What do you
For
got?
me, I'm going to go with a show I'm a big fan of. I'm going to go with Jimmy Neutron. Jimmy Neutron.
Oh.
Okay. All
For,
right. Jimmy Neutron. Let's see where it's at. I know it's on here.
Yeah. Yep. I'll say for an S tier.
Ooh.
Mm.
I give it S because the characters are great, the humor I love, and also the voice cast for the show is incredible. Plus, even the family spot for the show is up there. The fans are claiming for a reboot, and even plus I was at a convention, even met the voice of Carl Reeder himself, Rob Paulson. And,
Oh yeah.
And I gotta say, it has to be an S tier for the show. It's one of my all-time favorites.
I've actually met Rob Paulson. He's an awesome guy. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but let's see. We'll go to Austin. What do you think of Jimmy Neutron?
This is a tough one for me because I can't necessarily argue against being in an S tier, although I wouldn't personally put it in there. But I am aware of how big the following is on this show, that it has a lot of fans because they've had a movie, there's a ride at Universal Studios to this day.
It used to be there.
Or there used to be, I'm sorry, yeah, it's Despicable Me now, but it used to be there. But it was there for a while. And and so I don't know if I can necessarily argue against it. Me personally, it's more of an A tier. But oh man, this is tough because I know it is a good show. I agree, it's one of the better shows that came out in like the early 2000s for sure. It would probably be an S tier if we were talking about early 2000s Nickelodeon. So for that reason, it might have to be S tier. So I can't necessarily argue against it.
Yeah. So for me, like for some reason Jimmy Neutron never really hit with me. Like I never really resonated with it. I did kind of like the nerdy uh, 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 best friend that's always running around in his underwear or whatever.
Yeah,
But
Carl.
yeah, Carl. But
Oh,
like I just never. I never really found it very funny. I never really found it very entertaining. I mean, I did laugh once in a while with Carl. Like I thought that he was probably my favorite character overall. But like honestly, like I wouldn't rank it very high compared to like what we have on the list. Like I mean, my gut instinct is to give it a D, but for the animation, like it had some like pretty solid animation with the 3D animation and stuff. So for that, like I could bump it up to a C, but that's probably the highest I would put it. Honestly, it's just one that never really hit with me. But what do you think, Jennifer, of Jimmy Neutron?
I did watch it, and Brian did a TikTok of Carl saying croissant. So
That's
nice.
I have to go with S. I have to go with S.
All right.
Okay.
So we got a couple for S, an A, and a C. What do you think, Chris?
I like Jimmy Neutron a lot. I grew up with it. I love the movie. I mostly love it also for the specials that they did. I love the
Crossovers.
We did talk about another show, the crossover with Very Odd Parents. I love that crossover so much.
Oh yeah, the
Like
crossover. I forgot.
The the secret agent thing.
The Jet Fusion.
Yeah, I like that. I hated the show that came after it with Sheen, with him on it.
Oh, we're not talking about that. We're talking about the 2000, not right after.
Yeah, but I talked about Jimmy Neutron at home. Like I think he and everything. And I do see it very funny. It's very funny show. Yeah, no pants episode. Really funny. Like
Yeah.
The pilot episode of it. Yeah.
The one special with the alien from the movie that came out is also a very funny episode. Like they're really good stuff. I put it behind Hey Anna. I think Hey Anna is a better show than Jimmy Neutron just because the emotional tone it had.
Yeah.
But I do love Jimmy Neutron a lot. I love the character. I would like to see it come back in the same animation. I don't want to see what they do to it, what they do at Rugrats. I hope that never happens again. But yeah,
yeah.
behind.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Well, I kind of feel like maybe A might be a solid spot for. We got a couple of S and we got a couple of A, and I ranked it a little lower. So I mean, I think A is probably about solid. And also, there's always potential for these to move up or down, just depending on.
Yeah.
They can always go
how we
into
rank
the
them
top
going forward.
10 at the end of the show. You know, we always talk about a top 10. If we have like 6 in the S tier, we start pulling from the A tier for top 10. So there's still potential for that. So don't give up hope on two of these for sure.
Yep, not at all. All right, so Austin, you're up.
All right, so I said I was my first 3 nominations, I was gonna use some assistance for my T-shirts next to me. So I'm gonna show you guys the logo and get it started. So
what you got?
On your mark, get set, go!
Oh, nice.
Oh, Double Dare, yeah.
Double Dare. So
Right on.
Double Dare, the godfather of Nickelodeon, the absolute S tier of S tiers. Without Double Dare, there would be no Nickelodeon. Period.
Exactly.
End of story. There's no arguments. Double Dare is the show that started the popularity of it all. There would be no Nicktoons. There would be no other Nickelodeon game shows. Nickelodeon would not be where it was if not for Double Dare. And the fact that this show has spanned multiple generations, has a 35-year legacy. It started in 1986 with the regular run of Double Dare. 1989, Super Sloppy Double Dare. Family Double Dare lasted all the way till 1994. We had Double Dare 2000, the spinoff in 2000. We have a current Double Dare with a new host and the original host, Mark Summers. With Mark Summers, one of the greatest hosts of all time. He is the epitome of Nickelodeon hosts. He is the Godfather. I mean, he is the Don Corleone of Nickelodeon. And Double Dare, for everything it did, it brought slime into the mainstream. The obstacle course, who didn't want to do that? It is absolutely 100% S tier Nickelodeon. It epitomizes everything we love about old school Nickelodeon. Double Dare, absolutely S tier.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm right there with you on that. Like, I think that's S tier all the way. Like, it's just one of those shows that like really popularized the slime. And then you have Mark Harmon, which one of the greatest hosts. I mean,
Mark
yeah,
Summers.
Yeah, Mark
I mean, sorry,
Summers.
yeah,
Not
Mark Summers,
Harmon.
baby.
Yes.
Mark
Mark
Summers.
Harmon was a producer.
Right. Yeah, I always get those names mixed up last minute, but
Sure thing.
yeah. So Mark Summers, you shouldn't be familiar with him because I also watched pretty much every episode of his show Unwrapped over on the Food Network. He did that.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, when I was a kid, like I always wanted to be on the show Double Dare, doing all those obstacle courses, answering all the trivia. Like I would answer it from home, and like I would actually know.
I still do.
A huge portion of it. Yeah, for sure. But not huge on the current run of it. Like I actually tried watching it, and I thought the most current version didn't quite hold up as well as the original. But as far as the original goes, and like all the iterations we had in the '90s and stuff, I thought that
Well,
awesome.
the original version is not great, or the current version, I should say, is not the greatest. But it just goes to show my argument for the legacy of the show, that they continue to try to bring the show back to Nickelodeon. And even with the Double Dare 2000, it was very, very close to the original. Did a good job. It still has the spirit and the charm of it. It's just the new they try to make it too ADHD now, for the new crowd.
Right.
So it doesn't take its time, but it's still the fact that they're still trying to do it just goes to how far, and the fact that they brought Mark Summers back as the announcer just goes to show the legacy of the show and how great it is.
Yep, and even that being said, also give it an S all the way. Like I would agree with that. But
Same.
But what do you think, Jennifer? A Double Dare.
It's S.
Yeah, you got anything to say? Did you ever grow up watching it?
Anybody watch it? Yeah.
I've already seen the new version of it. I haven't grew up with the original.
You got to go back and watch the original stuff. It's great.
Yeah, the original
it's amazing.
Yeah.
I love the original Double Dare, so yes.
And plus, also, it gave us what Nick does now, a slime.
Yeah, no, there's a show before it called You Can't Do That on Television. That first started doing the slime that was brought over from Canada, but it was not a Nickelodeon original production. Double Dare was the first big original production for Nickelodeon and popularized the slime for sure, and just made it a mainstream of everything. And but yeah, like I said, it's the godfather of Nickelodeon, and it belongs. I not to preview my arguments for later, but I think it might be the number one show for sure. But we'll argue for that later.
We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, and like earlier this week when I was doing a little bit of research for the show, I actually came across a video of Mark Summers talking about what the original slime's actually made of. So it's like a combination of like some oatmeal and like applesauce and like a bunch of just crazy kind of like half solid, half liquid types of food kind of mixed together. But then there's a bunch of green food coloring in there to just make it green. So
they used to show you how to make it on the Nickelodeon Studios tours at Universal.
Yes, that's
part of the tour. They would
Yep.
go into a test kitchen and show you how to make it.
Oh, nice, yeah. And I feel like nowadays, like if you watch some of the Kids' Choice Awards, like it's definitely made it something different. Like it's a lot more like viscous and clear kind of. But like the original,
exactly.
It's changed over the years.
Yeah. But yeah, so now it's my turn to pick one. I got to go with my absolute.
I know what he's going to pick.
To kick it off, so you might know. Let's see, but so I'm actually going to go with Ren and Stimpy. I don't know if that's the one you were thinking.
Well, there's another one, but I was going to argue against. But this is an interesting one.
Yeah, right.
So let's do it.
So like Ren and Stimpy, I think hands down is my favorite Nickelodeon show of all time. Like I just love all the gross out humor. I love all the writing, super solid. Just all the insults that they kind of fling back and forth at each other. Like they're just doing the most crazy, zany, off the wall type of things. Just like things that like you would never even think of. It just seems like the deepest, darkest recesses of a child's mind, kind of mixed with a little bit of adult humor too in there. So like it's
a little bit of adult humor. You mean like a lot of adult humor?
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah. Right.
I mean,
right. So like, but like it also has heavy vibes to like some current shows like Big Mouth and like maybe even Rick and Morty a little bit, So like, I would definitely put it in the S tier. But let's go around and see what you guys think. What do you think, Jennifer, of Ren and Stimpy?
I've seen half of most Nickelodeon shows, but I haven't seen Ren and Stimpy.
Okay.
But but I but I but I know a bit of it, but I never watched it actually.
Okay.
Go check it out,
But
Jennifer. It's very interesting,
yeah.
especially if you like current Adult Swim, really bonkers stuff. It's for sure the inspiration for that.
I
It's the
believe
one
it's
that
on.
kind
You
of
can watch it on
started it
YouTube
all.
as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. You can see most of these on YouTube.
Yeah, but I also got to say happy joy like they brought that song too.
Yeah.
And, like that's always part of my like childhood. That song gets stuck in your head for sure.
Happy
But
joy, happy joy,
yep.
joy,
But
joy, happy joy.
joy.
Yeah.
But Chris, what do you think of Ren and Stimpy?
I liked Ren and Stimpy, and not my favorite bonkhead Nickelodeon show. I think they're funnier. Ren and Stimpy, we get to it later. I wrote down a quote from it on my board to show later, but I do like it. It's funny, it's crass, it's stupid at times. The one episode I don't particularly like, that a lot of people mention it, involving the cow, like the females and all that have it read back then. But I love it. It's a good show. I mean, I put it in A or B tier. It's not my top favorite Nickelodeon show.
Right.
Because now something I grew up on, I only saw once of it.
Yeah, I think Ren and Stimpy aired like a little bit in the 80s, a little in the 90s, if I'm not mistaken. I want to say that.
No, it was like 91 to 93 or 91 to 94 or something like that.
Yeah, I believe around that era.
That's what it was.
Mhm.
All right. Right on. Well, Brian, what do you think? Ren and
For
Stimpy?
me, I would agree with Chris. It's not an S tier, not like top 10. I would probably say around
You're breaking my
A
heart.
or maybe a B tier.
Okay.
Well, Jordan,
Well,
I will back you
Austin?
up on the S tier. Yeah, I'll back you up
All
on
right.
the S tier. I wasn't going to nominate it myself because I was kind of to see if it would pop up somebody else's. But the only reason, and I'll lay out my argument for S tier to back up Jordan, is that 1991 started the Nicktoons craze with Doug, Rugrats, and Ren and Stimpy. And without those three shows, you would not have any of the shows you have now on Nickelodeon already in the past. Much like Double Dare set the stage for the game shows, Ren and Stimpy, Rugrats, all of them set the stage for Angry Beavers and Cat Dog and SpongeBob and everything that came afterwards. And it has absolutely been an influence on even the modern shows you see, like Rick and Morty, like you said, or even Adventure Time, any of that, BoJack Horseman, all that stuff. Take stuff from Ren and Stimpy. I guarantee you the creators of those shows are big fans of Ren and Stimpy because I 100% would put money on it that they're all fans because it has some of the craziest imagery. The animation style was unique at the time. Some of the crazy gross out stuff that you had that was really gross, but it really broke a lot of barriers and a lot of bounds, and so much so that where you really couldn't get away with putting it on Nickelodeon right now. You would have to put it on Adult Swim. And it was kind of extreme for the time. So I'm even surprised that it even started on Nickelodeon. But I think it's absolutely an all-timer for Nickelodeon. Not my personal favorite show, anything like that. But I think for the stage it's set and for the impact that it's had, it's an S-tier level show.
Yeah, now, do you know if they ever like brought it back in any form? Because I feel like maybe they might have brought it back for a little bit. I don't know.
It did like a party one, like some sort of party or something.
They had like a couple of extra episodes here and there that they debuted that were like episodes that didn't originally air that they then aired later as like special kind of encore, epilogue presentations. But it essentially just had its original run. But there's a documentary that's out right now about the creation of Ren and Stimpy. I'm blanking on the name right now, but there's a documentary that people are watching right now about the creation of it. So that's pretty popular. So you can check that out. But yeah.
Nice.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, for me, there's only about maybe 5 or so shows on the list that actually make me laugh out loud, and like Ren and Stimpy is one of them. Like I was watching it even earlier today, some old episodes, and like I was just laughing so hard, like it really made me laugh good. So like I just think that we kind of have a little bit of a combination between S and S and A tier.
Well, we're kind of stuck because we've got like 2 S's and like 2 B's. So like, where do we go from there? Do we go put it in a top A, or do we kind of keep it near where it is, or does it go to the bottom of an S tier? I don't know.
Well, what did you guys say? I
said an A or B.
Okay.
Diaz said like a
What did you
B,
say?
A or B?
A B.
Well, then we
Okay.
could put it at the top of A, maybe. Then
We'll put it at the top of A for right now, and it may move up.
We'll kind of
Well,
see.
well, that's for now, Chris. That's for now.
Yeah, saying that better than
That's for
Hey
now.
Arnold a fight rating.
Well,
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
but
like-
we disagreed on Hey Arnold because you were the only one who put it in S tier, though.
Yeah.
Remember,
Yeah,
we
for
have
me,
to.
like-
This is a tier ranker where we take everybody. We have
Yeah.
to come to a
Yeah.
consolidation. So it is what it
For
is.
me, I think it's way better than Hey Arnold, but that's just me.
I think it's way better than Hey Arnold as well, but that's just that's
Yeah.
just me
I
too.
think Junior was much better, so we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens.
We'll see
But
what
for now, I
happens,
think
but-
the top of A is fair.
Yeah.
Top of A is fair.
Yeah, I think that's fair, and we'll see where it eventually ends up. If it stays there or moves, we'll see. But
All right. So we'll go to our late bloomer here, Jennifer. What do you got?
Yep.
yeah, you want to pick one?
It's between two that I like. Brian knows which one.
I think I know what it is. He told me.
It's
Well,
either
pick the one you
Danny
love the most for S
Phantom-
tier or A tier.
It's either between Danny Phantom or the Fairly Odd Parents.
Let's just
Okay.
get Very Odd Parents.
So pick the one you love the most.
Yeah.
What's your favorite?
Danny Phantom.
Oh.
All right.
I did watch
Alright, so where
it
would
as
you
a kid.
Where would you put it? Like what tier?
Odd Parents argument for
I
later.
would say either A. I did
Or-
like
18.
A.
Okay.
Okay, so what do you
Although
like
Chris
about
is
it?
writing.
Like,
No, just for later when we bring up Very Odd Parents.
yeah, what do you like about Danny Phantom, Jennifer? Like what?
It's the themes because I was I was on YouTube re-listening to some childhood theme songs. Then I heard Danny Phantom. I'm like, holy shoot! How come I don't remember the theme song? I used to watch this like every time. Then I'm like, whoa! Now I remember because I used to play those games on Nick. The
Oh yeah,
Danny Phantom games.
the games.
Oh
The
yeah.
Danny Phantom games, I'm like, oh my god, what happened to me since I changed?
Right. Yeah. So we'll go around the horn. What do you think, Chris, for Danny Phantom?
This is one of the show I never saw the ending of, but I think flipped in the ending and need to go back and watch the last season of it.
Yeah.
But I love it. It's a good show. It's fun. It's stupid. The boss ghost is one of the most funniest, stupidest characters in Danny Phantom. I died laughing every time he showed up. Like, it had great villain. It had creepy twists. I like Danny and Sam relationship. I'm happy they got together despite I never saw the ending. I've seen the clip online. I like everything about this show. So I put it
Would you put it?
I put it above Jimmy Neutron and behind Hey on a Minute Paper. Why? Because the action sequences are good, the humor is good, the character memorable,
Put it there.
the villains are
Yeah.
really good for a Nickelodeon show. Like you remember the
Yeah, for
villains
sure.
a lot. Yeah.
All right, Brian, what do you think?
For
what do
me,
you think?
I agree. It's one of the best Nick anime shows, and I agree. The villain's great, the action's great, and I would say it's perfect right where Chris said it is, behind, right above Jimmy Neutron.
Okay. What do you think, Austin?
Well, when I was going to do my research for the show, unfortunately, Danny Phantom was one of the ones that was kind of past my time because this kind of started in 2004. So it was a little bit past my time where I'd kind of broken off from Nickelodeon and moved on to other things. So I tried my best to sort of some of the shows I hadn't seen, try to at least watch a few episodes. Unfortunately, this is one I didn't get around to, but I am aware that it has video games and it has a pretty decent following. So I'm sure it's at least to some kind of quality, but I can't really speak personally to individual quality because I haven't seen enough of it. So I will divert my arguments to other people.
Sure. Yeah. Well, for me, like I haven't really seen very many episodes. I've probably only seen maybe 4 or 5 episodes of it, honestly. But one of the ones that I saw was a really great episode. So they did a crossover episode with the Fairly Odd Parents where he goes through some kind of portal and he goes into the Fairly Odd Parents world, and then the Fairly Odd Parents come into the Danny Phantom world, which is pretty cool. So like I thought that was a pretty solid crossover episode. But But it's
I
like
need to
hard for
look
me
it
to.
up.
Yeah, you should look it up. Like, it's a really cool episode. Probably one of the best crossovers I've ever seen. Like in a cartoon show before.
I have to check that out.
But yeah.
Well,
For
Jordan,
me,
I can
like,
at least speak to critically. I looked up a lot of these shows to see what overall critics and fans think of it as far as the rankings of everything else. So I do know that Danny Phantom is a very strong show, one of the stronger ones of the early 2000s. So I think A tier, at
Guys,
least from what I saw, is pretty solid.
guys,
Yeah.
not to bust your
Mhm.
bubble, but Danny Phantom Fairy Odd Parent never crossed over with Jimmy Neutron.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
wow. Are you sure?
Yeah, I
No?
just look it up.
No, I have it right here. It says Fairly Odd Parents, Danny Phantom TUFF episode. They go through a portal. Well, I've literally seen it before. Like, they do cross over. Like, I'm absolutely 100% sure on that. They do.
No,
but it's a-
because they did episode. They were showed the character of Danny Phantom with the Fairy Odd Parents episode, not on Danny Phantom.
Well, I could literally send you the clip now. It's
Okay,
right in front of me. Where it is. If you look at Fairly Odd Parents,
It looks like a short film in 2017,
Yeah.
not a full episode.
Yeah.
Is what I'm
Yes.
seeing.
Yeah, so the crossover
Yeah.
was like a pretty quick crossover. Yeah, like they only crossed over for like a few minutes, but like when they did cross over though, they had some pretty solid kind of funny jokes and like some pretty solid writing there. So they had that for like a little bit, I guess. Maybe it wasn't quite a full episode, but I mean, they had a pretty solid villain. I'm trying to remember.
It was
They had
a crossover short, Jordan, is what I'm reading from the LA Times. It was it was just an original short that they made called like The Fairly Odd Phantom or something like that, where it was just a quick crossover, not a full episode of either show. So it was
Okay.
just kind of a thing they did for the fans. So yeah, that's what you saw.
No offense,
They had
I
a
rather
couple-
had the crossover when it
Oh no, it's
Yeah.
cool. Hey, you guys
Much
know better than
early
we
in
do. So you
much
know.
Yeah,
early
right,
in the
right.
Fairy Odd Parents season than where it was.
Yeah,
during that.
but they had some pretty solid villains. They had a female villain that's sort of like a ghost, almost kind of like Danny Phantom. Then they had another guy that was called Vlad, like Vlad something. I can't remember the last name, but yeah.
The
So
Ghost Boss.
yeah, so for that reason, like I haven't seen a lot of it, but I would agree that it's probably A tier. But I wouldn't put it high on the A list. I mean, I'm pretty happy where it's
Well,
at
it's
now.
still
That's
could
solid.
be a contender for the honorable mentions of the top
Yeah.
10. So
Exactly.
it's still in contention. We'll
Yeah.
see.
Yeah,
You know?
for sure.
And so Jennifer, it's a solid pick because it definitely could still make at least an honorable mention at the end. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So we'll go
All
back
right,
to
Mr.
Chris.
Diaz, you're up. Mhm.
You're up again.
So
what
I
you
have
got.
one
We got-
question for you. Is mayonnaise an instrument?
Oh yes.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
is mayonnaise an instrument? I know what you're.
No,
You're talking
Patrick,
about
mayonnaise
words,
not instrument. Horseradish is an instrument either.
I know it's on
Yes.
here. Oh,
It's
My
like
friends
the-
who do
yeah.
stuff together,
Yep, here it is.
you and me. Got
Yep.
it to
As for anywhere you go, down here, deep blue sea.
Yep.
Okay, taking out how I feel about when it is how it is now. The first several seasons of SpongeBob up to the SpongeBob movie are pure comedy classic, like quotable line after line. Even the movies are good. Like I stopped watching SpongeBob as a while, but the movie is still pretty good. But yeah, they are funny. Mermaid Man, Barnacle Boy, you remember like me, Rebo,
Even
you,
Adam West
Rebo,
does the voice.
we all,
Yep.
Rebo,
Rumbo.
Mumbo. What's so great about Texas? Like Pinhead and Larry.
Krusty Krab
Yeah,
pizza.
I already know what you're
You
thinking,
can
so
pull
I'll just put it there.
SpongeBob all day long, and I've been with friend, and we were singing this fun song to do the man. Had a friend in music class at my teacher in many instruments, and we all burst out laughing in class.
Yep. Sweet victory. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I love SpongeBob. Take it out how it is now. It's still such a show that stick with you. Like those first couple of seasons of memorable classic episodes, even the specials are great. The movies are still good. I enjoyed. I haven't seen the new one, but I love the SpongeBob movie. I like SpongeBob a lot. It's crazy stupid, but it's very funny out there. Yeah, it's SpongeBob.
Yep.
It'd be treated as an A because I had to consider the other season, but it's so close to S tier that I want to put it S tier.
We'll see what happens then. We'll go around the horn and talk about it. Brian, what do you think?
Yeah, what do you think, Brian?
For me, hell yes for this. I'll put it above Double Dare. It's like so great.
God no.
You got the great, and also plus the animation is great. The music, that are made, Campfire song, fun, Sweet Victory, and even got the voice of SpongeBob himself, Tom Kenny, at another convention. It's like one of the best anime series. Plus, it's also Dynasty and Nickelodeon. Every Kids' Choice Award they do, SpongeBob wins like every award for best anime TV series.
Yep. Yeah, for real. But
the Campfire song. Now getting all of the stuff stuck in my head.
Yep. But what do you think, Austin, for SpongeBob?
So I am so torn on SpongeBob. I love it and I hate it, and I'll tell you why. So I could argue good and bad. The good of SpongeBob, I'll start with the good. So the good of SpongeBob is that, yes, I agree the first several seasons are some of the strongest cartoon shows ever because it had a great crossover appeal with both adults and kids. The voice acting is very, very strong, very good. The cast is tremendous. I think the writing was very strong. Here's my problems I have with SpongeBob. It has a Simpsons problem, which means it's gone on way too long past its prime. The show should have ended years ago, and it's still going on, and it's diminished in quality over the years, and it's kind of overstayed its welcome. So I think it has a Simpsons issue. My other issue is that SpongeBob took over Nickelodeon and basically killed it, in my opinion. And it took where Nickelodeon used to be reveled and revered for how great it was and the variety of the shows, it became the SpongeBob network, to where they played it almost 24 hours a day on the Nicktoons, and the other shows that were quality, like your Hey Arnolds, like your Danny Phantoms, like your Jamie Neutrons, became diminished because they didn't market the other shows properly. A show we talked about earlier, Avatar: The Last Airbender, got bumped away and didn't get promoted properly because of the corporate cartoonism that was SpongeBob SquarePants. So I think it kind of killed some other shows. Yeah. Well, we'll talk about it. I know. I know. I'm just saying. I think it hurt shows like Avatar because the company did not want to promote it because they were making so much money about SpongeBob. So I think, yes, I agree. I think the first half of SpongeBob is like S tier, but I think you have to consider the diminished quality of it, which to me bumps it down to A tier because I think it's overstayed its welcome and has not maintained that quality, but that's a big thing for me. So for me, it's A tier.
All right. Well, for me, sorry, Austin, I think SpongeBob is better than Double Dare.
Yes.
Dude, come on. Really?
Like SpongeBob.
You haven't watched enough Double Dare.
Yeah, SpongeBob's absolutely amazing. Like, there's not really too much that I really find super cheesy about SpongeBob, and there is a lot that I find cheesy about Double Dare sometimes. And like, really, when it comes to SpongeBob, it's either super funny or it's really not that funny, but it's not really cheesy to me. Like, even if it's not funny, I still find it super entertaining to watch. And just like, there's so many quotable lines, like, especially from the first few seasons, but like as I got older, I can't really say that the later seasons are really bad because I just haven't really seen them. So I need to go back and watch some of the later.
But doesn't that kind of speak to the issue I brought up though, with like the Simpsons issue, that you guys are all talking about like the first couple of seasons, but nobody's talking about it now? Why not?
And it's funny because
it's gone down in quality?
Stopped watching the show, and then the movie is not that big either. They should have ended it with the first movie. I will agree.
Well, for me, like for me, when it comes to The Simpsons, I don't really think The Simpsons really dipped in quality. The only time I feel like The Simpsons, I'm a massive Simpsons fan, one of my favorite shows of all time. I feel like the only time Simpsons really dipped was while they were making the movie, because all the writers had their time and energy focused on the movie, and then people just are kind of like, oh, well, it's not any good anymore, so I'm not going to go back and watch it. But if you go back and watch it, like, there's still some amazing, like hilarious stuff that really.
Yeah, but you don't think that like 30 seasons is too much for The Simpsons? Like, it should have probably ended a long time ago.
No, The Simpsons needs to go on forever. Like, it needs to go on for 30 more years. It's
I gotcha.
Yeah,
for 2 more seasons.
Incredible. Yes, like
Sure.
I watch it with my girlfriend. Every now and then it's funny.
Simpsons dies when the voice cast dies.
Yeah.
But
I would say that before getting to Simpson tangent, but I watched The Simpsons with my girlfriend. It changed my for fun, but there are great episodes. Like the Mr. Corbell episode they did a tribute that recently was really good. Yeah, with that flashback her saying she only there because she wanted to see Boss to see a beautiful moment out anything.
Yeah.
But sticking with SpongeBob, like I just feel like there's so many quotable lines. Like one of my all-time favorite episodes is the employee training day one. The
train video.
It just goes on and on and on. It's just so good. Like, oh, poop. People order our patties. Or like when he's trying to sell candy bars door to door.
Oh, yeah, chocolate.
Yeah, there's just so many lines. Or like the episode where where like Patrick's riding up and down on the hooks, but it's like really dangerous.
Oh yes.
Like just kind of like juvenile
today
and like unaware of it, like he doesn't really understand it. So
Patrick, are you always stupid?
Yeah.
Only on Monday.
And also like there's so many things that I always quote from SpongeBob. Like I always say, like I'm ready. Yeah, like
hey guys, it's Steve Erickson today. Hinga dinga durgan.
Yeah, for sure. Or like the whole.
All right, look, I fully realize I'm going to get outvoted on this 3-1 on the S tier, so it's fine. I'm okay with you guys putting it in an S tier. Obviously, you guys can put it in S tier. That's fine. I'm just simply laying out my problems and my issues with it. That's all. But I can fully realize it was his quality. No, S tier is fine. I got outvoted. I got outvoted 3-1 on S tier, so it goes into S tier.
One of my favorite SpongeBob memories later on in the previous moment, seeing Plankton go into SpongeBob brain in the SpongeBob second movie.
Oh yeah.
Hysterical and
seeing
how his mind thinks SpongeBob mind in the second movie is one of the most funny what the fuck moment in kid movie I've seen.
Yeah, right. And also I wanted to mention too, so I found this little list of all the people who have done voices throughout the run of SpongeBob. It's incredible. So just listen to this list. So you have Johnny Depp, you have Mark Hamill, David Bowie, Victoria Beckham, Christopher Guest, Michael McKean, Ian McShane, Marion Ross, Gene Simmons, Johnny Knoxville, Pat Morita, Adam West, and Burt Ward actually to play Mermaid Man in
the younger versions,
which is incredible. There you have Ray Liotta, and then you literally have Pantera coming on to actually play a song in the episode where SpongeBob and Sandy are competing to see who can do the most dangerous things.
Oh yes,
so, they're on. So yeah, so like that list right there is like incredible. So yeah, I'd say definitely S tier.
Jordan, you've got your S tier. I already told you that. It's 3-1.
Above Double Dare. Above Double Dare.
It's not above Double Dare. No, it's not. It's not above Double Dare.
I'd say above
Double Dare.
Just because it's 3-1, so like I feel like we got to do it for now. So we can argue it at the end a little bit.
But Jordan, you put Double Dare in S tier.
Well, yeah, I think it's S tier, but I think SpongeBob's even a better S tier than Double Dare.
Wow.
Like
Wow.
One of those iconic shows that stood the test of time, and it's still going strong. I mean,
it's okay when it gets outvoted on your poll on Facebook. We'll see what happens.
right.
They had too many people putting SpongeBob on the poll, so thank you.
Yeah, right. We'll move on to the next one. So we got Brian. You're up next.
Okay, Howard question: who loves orange soda? Cal loves orange soda. Is it true? Mm-hmm. I do. Ooh. That's Keenan and Cal. I gotta go with an S tier.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's great comedy. Plus, this show is filmed at Universal Studios, first of all, and also the guest star they got for the show. I believe with basketball players, Bill Bellamy, David Weir. I mean, the comedy is perfect. You got Keenan, who's the smart guy, and Cal, who's like the sort of dumb guy. And even the plus, when they start the show, they break the fourth wall, talk to the audience. And even at the end, here goes. So, Keenan and Cal is S tier.
Yep. What do you think, Austin, for Keenan and Cal?
Keenan and Cal is A tier, and I'll tell you why. It's not S tier.
Okay.
Because every show almost follows one of two formats, and that's all they ever came up with. Either A, Kel does something really stupid that gets them in a lot of trouble that they have to try to scramble and fix, or Keenan has a get-rich-quick scheme that doesn't work out. And that's pretty much it. You can take any episode of the show, and it follows those two formats. I don't think there was enough creativity in the writing, because I think they kind of fell into this trap over the 4 seasons of going with one of those two premises. I agree. I like the theme song. I like the fact that they talked to the audience before and after. It's pretty cool and jump right in. The casting was strong. Keenan and Kel are both good, and it kind of gave us the legacy that they had. So I agree that it's quality. It does make me laugh. I don't know if it holds up as well as it does, because it's a lot of just manic energy for the most part. I think something like All That's just a little bit better because it gave us Keenan and Kel and what they did. So I think because Keenan and Kel was almost like a spin-off of that, it's a little bit lower quality and a little bit on the lower tier. So that's why I would go more of an A tier for Keenan and Kel.
Okay, all right. Well, for me, I forget.
You go first.
For Keenan and Kel, I got to go S tier all the way for Keenan and Kel. Like, like I grew up with it. I've seen every single episode multiple times. Like, it's just one of the funniest shows. Like, I absolutely love Kenan Thompson. Like, he's one of my favorite from Saturday Night Live currently. Like,
agreed.
Like he pretty much carries that show right now. And then Kel, like he's just hilarious. He's just so funny, and he has like so much charisma, and like all the different stories that they're doing. Like I almost don't even care what the story is because they're so funny and they have so much charisma that it doesn't even matter what they're even doing. It's just so funny. And also you have the theme song by Coolio. I mean, what a cool theme song! Like Keenan Kel has the best theme song in the history of Nickelodeon. I think it's just so good. Like for me, like I would even put it at the very top of S tier. I think it's even better.
No,
pull it back.
SpongeBob is better.
Pull you back.
Yeah,
pull
not
your back. Not yet.
I'll leave it here for now. But that's just my opinion. But like I just love those guys, and like I really want to see them team up and like do something else together. They have been
like a revival.
Yeah,
for
man,
sure,
I didn't think Kenan Thompson do another show with Cal than what he's doing right now at NBC.
Yeah, right. Like I'm not super excited about the new Kenan show unless they bring Kel to the show.
And not bad. Don Johnson is the better part of that show, but not good either.
Yeah. So,
like, Chris, where would you put it? Where would you put it ranking-wise, Chris?
I have to recuse myself because I barely remember this show. When I think of Kenan Thompson, all that all the time. I don't remember Kenan Thompson show that much out like all that. Like
okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can fully realize the quality of the show, and it's very rewatchable. I get it. Like Kenan and Kel are a great comedy duo. I'm not arguing against that whatsoever. I just think the show got repetitive over 4 seasons. And they didn't do a whole lot to really break it out of, like I said, those familiar formats, like other sitcoms did. So just to me, that's why I don't consider it like the top of the top, because I think there was a few more creative shows Nickelodeon had than Kenan and Kel, which is why I'd put it more in A tier. That's just my argument.
Well, so we have 2 for S, 2 for A, but I usually always give the tiebreaker to the person that actually picked it for that one. So for right now, I think I'm going to put it at the bottom of S tier, but we'll leave it at the bottom, and it may get bumped back down. We'll see what happens, but I think that's
all right.
That's a fair enough spot for it. But so now, Austin, you're up.
All right. Well, let me pull my T-shirt out so we can get another T-shirt going here, and get ready to go. All right.
Let's see it.
Legends of the Hidden Temple with your guide, Kirk Fogg. And here he is now. All right. So
Legends is here.
Legends of the Hidden Temple.
All right.
Now, I'm not going to argue it for being the number 1 show of all time or anything like that, but I think it's an S tier show, and I'll tell you why. So I think it's the other greatest game show that came out of Nickelodeon, especially in the 90s. It's right behind Double Dare. And because if you take the sheer production value of this show and the fact that this studio was massive and the amount of effort they put into making this show look absolutely amazing and incredible, they do that. They do the Legends. based on some of them based on real myths is an oxymoron, but real legends or sometimes real people. So you get a little bit of a history lesson. You get some great trivia games. You get physical challenge games, and you get the temple run. My God, the temple run alone on this show. Every single kid in America who watches this show wanted to run the temple. I don't care who you are, how old you are. You see this show, you see that temple run. You wanted to be on it. You wanted to run. It's the most exciting 3 minutes in television. Hands down, bar none, one of the best finales you can have to a game show ever. One of the best game shows of all time. One of the best Nickelodeon shows of all time. S-tier Nickelodeon.
All right. And I would have to agree with you. Like, I think Legend of the Hidden Temple is a definite S tier. So for me, like I grew up watching Double Dare, and I really liked Double Dare, but then you had Legend of the Hidden Temple that like almost took Double Dare to like the next level. Like I just like, well, like Double Dare is cool, but Legend of the Hidden Temple is awesome, and like the sets that they had and the music they had and the whole kind of Aztec theme. And you had these like pyramids and different things that they would run through, which was like super super cool. And like it's just one of those shows where like when it came on, I always thought that I wanted to be on Double Dare, but then I was like, forget that. I want to be on Legend of the Hidden Temple. Like and I kind of even like almost stopped watching Double Dare to watch Legend of the Hidden Temple because I just thought that it was so much better. So for me, I'd put it even right in between SpongeBob and Double Dare for me. But that's
well, I bounce between which one I like more on any given day. It's like some of your favorite movies. It's like which one do you pick over the other? I can't really argue for one over the other one. I think they're both absolutely incredible. It's just I think the Double Dare legacy just outshines Legends of the Hidden Temple, but I think that Legends of the Hidden Temple is still like right up there. So for me, yeah, I'm glad you at least agree. It's S tier. It's awesome. But let's get everybody here from everybody else.
Yeah, what do you think, Chris?
From what I remember, I love Legend of the Hidden Temple. I definitely keep it S. I need to go back and rewatch some of the game shows because I have more memory of the cartoon than I do a game show and the also live action stuff. Well, but
it's so great. Just go watch some temple runs on YouTube because they're amazing. They're so much fun.
They're really cool.
Just go watch that alone. They're so great. Brian, what do you got?
Yeah. I haven't seen the show, so I have nothing to say.
Oh man, you got to go watch the show. It's great. It's one of the best game shows ever. You have to watch it.
Yeah, for sure. And also want to find out where you got the shirt because I'd love to have a shirt like that.
I just usually get these off of Amazon. I just looked up Legends of the Hidden Temple T-shirts.
Okay.
So this is like a compilation that has the main logo and then all the stuff around it. But you can actually buy the individual T-shirts that like the teams wore. You can buy like a Blue Haired awesome. T-shirt, Red Jaguar. So you can buy all those individually. So, I used to have 2 or 3 of them, but again, I wore them so much I wore them out. So they had to go in the garbage eventually. But unfortunately, but so I just bought that one fresh off there. So now I got a good one. But yeah, you can find them online. They're not hard to find.
Yeah, that's another argument for it. It was like super cool team names, which like really appealed to a lot of kids, like the Green Barracudas, Red Jaguars, like you say, So yeah.
Silver Snakes, the Purple Parrots. Oh yeah, no, great stuff. Yeah, really good stuff.
But would you guys put it above Double Dare? Because I would, but I don't know. I don't know what you guys think.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
probably.
It's debatable, but.
Well, again, I can waffle on the 2 just depending on my mood that day, so it's kind of hard for me to say. But we may have to talk about. I'll give some time. We'll talk about it later. Yeah, for sure.
Sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. So now it's back to me. So, I got to go to the one that you're probably thinking of. Let me see if I. So
yeah, most likely.
So this is one of the later shows that I included because I just love this show so much. So I got to go with iCarly. Like, for me. For me, I absolutely love iCarly. Like, I think it's hilarious. Like, it has heart. Like, it has like great humor, especially the older brother Spencer. Like, I'll go online and watch his YouTube. Like, he has a YouTube channel where he just does all kinds of crazy, kind of goofy, off the wall things. Jerry Trainer, who plays it, he came from Drake and Josh. He played Crazy Steve on Drake and Josh, and then he was the older brother, and now he has another show on Nickelodeon. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like him and a little kid or something.
Wendell
but-
Vinny.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Wendell and Vinny, but like, and also the character Sam, I think is absolutely hilarious. Jeanette McCurdy is just like so good. She's always beating people with a sock full of butter and just doing just so many crazy off the wall things. And like for me, I never really cared too much for the main lead. Like so Miranda Cosgrove, like she's okay. I don't really think she's all that funny, but it's all the side characters. All the side characters are just so good and like and so funny. They have just crazy people. Like they have Lubert, who's the like doorman with like a giant hairy mole that they always make jokes about. They have the crazy black guy from the smoothie shop they always go to that's like so like over the top, always like screaming and yelling and doing off the wall thing. And so one of those things where like so Nickelodeon kind of like at a certain point, maybe like mid 2000s or so, that it's like all their live action shows kind of became a bunch of kids just screaming and like running all over the place and like going off the wall, just super hyper. But I think for iCarly, somehow for me, it actually worked because it actually had heart to it. It actually had super solid writing, and for me, like it's almost my favorite Nickelodeon show of all time. It's definitely top 5 for me. I would put it in the S tier for sure. And I encourage anybody that like maybe saw a few episodes and like wasn't really into it. It gets better as it goes on. But the first season is all right. I mean, it's not great, but after the first season, like it just really takes off, and it's great. They had like I think like 2 movies, and now they're bringing it back.
TV movies, yeah.
Yeah, they have TV movies, and they're bringing it back to Paramount Plus. So I mean, that's the thing. And there's a bit of a demand for it to come back. So, but what do you guys think? We'll go with Chris and see what you think of iCarly.
I don't like this show.
Oh.
This is one of these shows that I tried watching because my sister loved it, and I really
that hurts.
Nothing against this show. I don't like Miranda Cosgrove that much as an actress.
Yeah, she's alright.
Like, I like her better than Drake and Josh, and I'm not really a Drake and Josh fan myself, but I enjoy that show more, especially with the brother Crazy. I like him better than Drake and Josh. Like,
yeah, right.
Yeah,
it's one of those shows I think that it tried to be something, but like the other show, like more from that dirty stuff. I mean, we will get eventually during 101 Nitty Classified. So that I grew up, like actually got back. We watched plenty of times. It's C&D tier for me. It never appealed to me, and when Nickelodeon started to go downhill for me at that point. Like,
well, I do have to say that also was a pioneer of like people doing online shows and like YouTube content. Like is one of the pioneers that like kind of introduced that in a lot of ways. So I mean, there was online stuff already, but it really brought it into the mainstream. I feel like. But what do you think, Brian?
For me, I enjoyed the show. I've seen a lot of episodes of it, but I really cannot stand the laugh track for the show. It's very annoying. Even the episode with the Fred episode, that started was a big fan of. So I will probably put a C tier.
All right. What do you think, Austin?
Yeah, I'm sorry, buddy. You might be dying on this hill alone, man. When you told me you were gonna put it in S tier as like one of your favorite shows, so I know we were texting back and forth. I actually gave it 6 episodes. I really tried,
really?
And boy, did I just spend most of it just cringing and just like shaking my head. I'm sorry, man. It's that problem you kind of talked about. Now, I'll give it to you this. It's not as bad as like Zach and Cody and Drake and Josh as far as that manic energy and the bad shows. It's not as bad. It's not as bad.
Zach and Cody is way better.
Yeah.
No, Zach and Cody's terrible. I hate that shit.
Hold on. Those shows have that problem where everybody is on speed and they're just running around and they're just yelling their lines and they're running into things and knocking crap over, and it tries to pass for comedy. And I'm sorry, just because you're running around and making a bunch of noise does not mean it's funny. So the only thing I mean is that iCarly doesn't succumb to that. It has a little bit of that, but not a ton of it. I agree, it's a little more subdued, but it just has a bad laugh track. Like it has those bad line deliveries where like you're just saying a line, waiting for a laugh, and it's not always there. I'm sorry. One of the greatest shows of all time, I mean, if you're like 9 years old watching it, sure, maybe. I mean, I know it has a following. I know it does. You made some strong arguments, Jordan. I will absolutely give you that. You laid out your arguments, some solid ones. I cannot die on that hill with you, man. It's like sea level stuff. It was mildly amusing, but nowhere near S level. I'm sorry.
Well, I do want to say that also I own all the seasons on DVD, so I liked it enough to do that. But I mean, I probably bought them all about like 8-9 years ago, something like that. So I've had them for a little while. But so you say C?
I think a solid consolidation is strong B. I think you can put it in a strong B, and I would not fault you do that because we said here to be fair, we said C. He nominated it for S.
Yeah.
I think top of a B level is a fair consolidation.
Yeah.
I try to be fair to everybody to the group.
Right.
I try to be fair to the arguments. So I think putting in a B level is somewhat fair. Just me.
Right.
Yeah, I would agree for sure. But so yeah, well,
Chris.
go back to Chris. Let's see what
I definitely think there's worse shows. Let's just put it at that. I think there's way worse shows than iCarly for sure.
Right.
Way worse shows.
Okay,
I've seen way worse.
Similar to SpongeBob, I struggle with this show where to put it because, and Jennifer mentioned it earlier, because like the first couple of seasons are perfect, and then it take a dip in quality and go into
I think I know.
where it's scary, and I wrote it right here. Chloe sucks and killed Very Odd Parent.
I agree. Yep,
Okay.
Very Odd Parents. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
this is between B, C, and A because
Depends
everything
on
up
thoughts.
the first 4 seasons are memorable with Very Odd Parents. Like the special is great. The crossover event with Jimmy Neutron.
Yep.
Epic Catastrophe. School Out. Challenge Chasing.
Yep.
It should have been the ending of the show because perfect finale to the show.
Yeah.
Like it, and the character Icky Vicky, that song gets stuck in your head. Like my shiny teeth and me, Crimson Chin, like Common Water, a hysterical character. Same with his Timmy mother and father, very funny character. I mean, and just clever jokes. Like I laughed a lot during the show, and it has sweetness and quality. Like we love you, Noggin. I mean, I took quotes like Simmons SpongeBob. I took quotes from our parents today.
Yep.
We knock you down the door because we want, not because we love you, because we want to. Like
Evade your privacy.
Yep.
yeah.
You want to. Yep. But
Why can't I be electric? I mean, I got very odd parent, but it when poop appear, that little show starts to get bad. Then Sparky, and then we got
Chloe.
this stupid Chloe that she had to share Timmy godparents with, who should have gone with Tootie, not Chloe. Like Tootie and the more miserable kid out on the whole show never had a fair godparent. It still bugs me to this day. And then the live action stuff. Oh, don't get me started on live action.
right. Yeah, well,
So to be clear, Chris, are you nominated for like a B tier? Is that what you're going for?
Yeah, because the first season of phenomenal. I mean, as much as I love School Out, they should have ended it with Channel Chaser and left it to our imagination what the future is. Who Timmy ended up marrying. I would have gone with Trixie, but people go with Tootie. Everything else never should have happened. I am scared for this reboot. I hope they get the people.
sure.
Get Nathan Fillion or Ellen Tudor for Cosmo. There.
Or Jason Alexander.
But what do you think,
All right,
Brian?
For me, I agree. The first 4 seasons are perfect for your parents. The characters, Dave Goldberg, Denzel Crocker. I mean, even the crossover, what Chris was saying, with Jimmy Neutron. And I would say, based on what happened after, like with Poof and Sparky, I would probably put a B, probably above iCarly.
Okay. What do you think, Austin?
Yeah, I could go with a B. Yeah, I think it has a problem of overstaying its welcome. It was on for like 15 seasons or something, and it's just way too much. Like I think it's just way too much almost for any show. A lot of these shows really should have stuck with a solid 5 or 6 really strong seasons. I think for a cartoon, that's way long enough. And, when you start getting into 10, 15, 20 seasons, you're not going to maintain that level of quality. And I think that happened with the Fairly Odd Parents. Again, I agree. I totally agree. They had a strong first couple of seasons, really, really strong, good writing, good voice acting. And because it's fallen off, I think, so hard, and the quality's been very inconsistent, I think a B level is a solid place to put it.
Yeah. Also, I forgot to mention, Fairy Idol also really good special.
Yeah, it was good.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so for me, like I'd be alright with the B, but like I would even slightly argue for an A because I probably like it better than Jimmy Neutron. I like it better than Danny Phantom. Maybe not Hey Arnold, but I think that it's like it can fall somewhere probably in the A tier for me. So I'll give it an A tier. And for me, just a like quick little story is that I've always been someone that's had really sensitive teeth and gums. Years ago, one of my front teeth actually broke off, and so I had to go for about a year with this really like wonky looking front tooth, and I tried to get it fixed, but in order to get it fixed, like it's just so expensive to get anything permanent done. I got some temporary things done, but the temporary stuff always broke off and never really worked. So finally, my younger brother Trent did this fundraiser and made a little bit of a surprise where he raised $1,800 to pay for me to get some permanent implants. So my front two teeth are not real, but they're real. They're gonna get they're like super permanent. They're gonna be there forever. And so as soon as I got that done, immediately went out to the car and I watched the Shiny Teeth in Me from the Fairly Odd Parents, just like where he's dancing and he's so proud of his brand new teeth. It was like a big moment because I went through years of just just fighting with all these dentists and like doctors and insurance companies, and it was really a tough thing for me. Like it really wore me down trying to do all of it, and I finally got it done. So yeah, but for me, like I give it probably an A tier, but. Well, you guys say
well, we've got 3 B's and an A, so I think strong top of B is pretty fair for Fairly Odd Parents right now, and we'll go with that.
Yeah,
and at the end, if they just ended it with Fairly Idol or channel changes, would have been top S tier. But the season.
Yeah, and I gotta say, the minute that they got rid of Vicky, because I thought Vicky was one of the best characters, and they got. When they got rid of her, they just brought in some kind of weird like next door neighbor character that
Chloe.
Chloe.
The fairy godparents with, and it was just bad. Yeah, that's where kind of lost me. So yeah, I think that's a solid.
It should have been 2D. I still boggle my mind. 2D Attracted never had fairy godparents.
Right. But. So we're gonna throw it over to Austin and see what you got.
No, is this my turn? Because Chris is
Brian's turn.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, I got to step away for just a second. Let me hear what Brian's going to do, and I'll think about my argument. And you can swing back to me.
I might have to get going in a second because I have another team to jump on. Somebody asked me to jump on the last.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But lay out your argument, Brian, and pick what you're going to do. And I got to step away for the restroom for just a second. I'll be right back. But let me know what you're doing.
Let's go with Rugrats.
Okay.
Yes, we gotta have Rugrats.
All right.
I'll probably put right next to all that. I'll probably put for top of S, like an S tier. Like not top of S, but like an S tier. Probably behind Kitty Cat. I'll put it.
Okay.
No, put it above Teen and Cat. Oh.
I mean,
but what do you think?
Just rate, Chris. Just rate. I got put there because of the characters, the animation plus topics they cover, like the Jewish holidays, Passover, Hanukkah, those specials. The characters, Tommy, Chucky, Angelica, probably one of the best characters, and even love the adult humor they use in the shows as well.
All right, I'm back. Sorry.
We're back. Right in time.
I was gonna say, hopefully you put Rugrats in S tier, right? Is that where you put it?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, that's where you put it. So,
okay. I'll back you up on that. I'll back you up on that, Brian, for sure. I think Rugrats, like I mentioned earlier, is one of the 3 sort of godfathers of Nicktoons, and it's one of the ones that really Nicktoons wouldn't exist without Rugrats for sure. It was a cornerstone of Nickelodeon. I believe it ran for like 9 seasons. You have a spin-off show.
Yes.
You have three movies. It has an amazing legacy. Fans all over the world. It's one of the most recognizable cartoons I think to come out of Nickelodeon. Yeah, it's
so I say,
Yeah.
No, I was just saying.
Yeah.
You know,
so guys,
I
I would say S tier, but I had to get going. But thank you guys for having me on.
No problem.
Okay.
We'll go first here. Cool.
Thanks for being on.
I mean, I was just. Yeah, no thanks. No, it's just I totally agree with S tier. I think it's a cornerstone of Nickelodeon. I think a lot of people, when you say Nickelodeon, one of the first things that comes to their mind is Rugrats. So it's definitely for sure. It's got that name recognition and everything going for it. Yeah, it's for sure an S tier, Brian. Absolutely.
Yeah. So for me, like I'm a little split. Like part of me wants to put it in the S tier, but at the same time, with everything else that's on the list, I just kind of feel like for me, like it just misses the S tier, just because I feel like it's like just a lot more juvenile. I feel like once I hit my teenage years, like it didn't really resonate with me, and anymore I kind of fell off, didn't really keep watching it. But I do understand why it's so iconic and why people love it, and I didn't enjoy the Rugrats movies that came out, and also that. I always sing the song. So they had a Rugrats song by like Blackstreet and Mace or something, where they like had some of the theme song in there. So I had that on like a bunch of my playlists.
Yeah, they did like 12 days of like different channels like MTV, Nickelodeon. You referenced the song.
Yep, yeah, for sure. So I mean, for me, I'd be okay with it being in the S tier, because I feel like because it's one of the OGs, like for Nicktoons animation, but I would probably put it at the bottom of S tier for me. But
yeah, we'll see how it ranks overall once we get everything up there. But to be fair, Jordan, if you go back and watch it, actually, as I've gotten older, I relate to more of the parents and the grandpa of the show. Like I started watching them a lot as part of the show, and you kind of switch your perspective. And a lot of the stuff they're speaking like real adults. They're not like talking down to children. Like they're having real conversations about things. You know, like they're having adult conversations around the kids, things like that. And some of the stories they tell are very more adult oriented. If you switch your perspective on the show when you're watching it, it actually helps in the from my arguments about things holding up. I think it holds up in that aspect where they didn't talk down to the kids. You know, they actually geared it for more mature kids, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? They didn't talk down to it like trying to be like a preschool show. Like it was actually a very mature show for the ages. They did some really creative stuff with like the vision dream sequences and like the Reptar stuff. Like there's some really, really good stuff on there, man. If you go back and look at it, I think it holds up for sure.
And also, one last thing for Rugrats, even the second movie, they even did like a Godzilla versus like I remember what it was like Mecha's Rodan or something in the second film when they were in Paris.
Like Reptar versus Mecha Reptar, like kind of stuff.
That
for sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, they did a lot of parodies of like real movies and things. Like the writing was really kind of ahead of its time back in like 1991. It was really, really strong for what it was, and that's why I think it holds up so well. I went back and rewatched episodes of it, and I think it does very, very well.
Yeah, and I want to shout out my favorite episode of Rugrats is the one where they make the haunted house, but they're like too afraid to go in the haunted house, but they dare each other to go in.
Oh yes,
typical kid thing. Let's make it as scary as possible, and then we're scared of our own creation.
Yep, exactly.
Yep. Scary Angelica.
Yep.
Yeah. Good pick, Brian. Yeah, Rugrats is definitely S tier. I'll back you up on that for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Austin's turn.
All right. I got one more shirt. I got one more shirt over here. It's not the end of my picks, but I've got one more shirt I can pull up for one of mine. So here we go.
All right. Let's see.
This is all that.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
All that.
Yep.
All right. So all that will be my next S tier pick. So
I agree with that.
So let me lay out my argument, Brian, and then you can back me up on it. All right, fair enough.
Sure.
All right, man. So yeah, no, I don't know if I put it at the very top. We'll talk about that, but I think it absolutely when we talk about, and Jordan, obviously we're both big fans of Saturday Night Live, and this is absolutely the equivalent of like a kid's version of Saturday Night Live. And I went back and watched it. Now some of the writing is a little corny, a little over the top, a few sketches where it's just us smashing stuff, and that's supposed to be funny. I can fully admit to that. However, I think when it came to all that, the good outweighed the bad significantly. And I think there's still some stuff that makes me laugh. They created very funny, memorable characters. The fact that people who watch the show can still name their favorite sketches, their favorite characters, Super Dude and Pierre Escargot and Good Burger. We got Good Burger out of all that. I mean, we got Keenan and Kel out of all that, essentially. Movie. Yeah, we got,
just like Saturday Night Live.
Exactly, yeah, for sure. I mean, the fact that this kid's version of SNL had a movie spinoff, and a lot of the cast members went on to still do things with Nickelodeon or in other areas, is a testament to the show. Everything about it's just memorable. Even when the sketches don't hit, I think the show still had a lot of energy. It was very, very entertaining, and I thought for what it was, really strongly written. So absolutely, all that is when you think about Nickelodeon, people are going to put all that in that top 10, or think about all that almost immediately. It's going to come to mind. So for sure, all that for S tier.
Yeah, for sure. So I would agree with all that. Like, I think all that's definitely in that tier. And I would even say all that's probably in my top 5 favorite Nickelodeon shows of all time. Like, I absolutely.
It might be when it comes down to it. We'll do them. When we go face to face on some of these when we're ranking them. I mean, we'll definitely have to make some hard decisions. But I think all that is a very strong contender. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Like so earlier. Today, in between some different jobs that I had while I was working, I was watching some sketches from all that. And, like, I was laughing pretty good. Like there's some pretty funny stuff. And like one of my favorite sketches I have to give a shout out to was the Ask Ashley sketch with Amanda Bynes, where like, so, like, people would, like,
to me that was one of my least favorite because it got grading over the time. I'm not a big Amanda Bynes fan, and that's why I'm not going to argue for like the Amanda show, because I'm not an Amanda Bynes fan. I think she's grating at times, and I think that Ask Ashley sketch started out good, and then they ran it into the ground. Did it almost every show after that, after it hit, and they just completely destroyed any goodwill they had towards it. But I mean, that's another subject for another time. But to me, it's one of my least favorite. But hey, if you liked it, I'm happy for you. But to me, it got grading over time because they just overused it. To me, that's all it was. I mean, they ended up using it more than Good Burger, like more than some of those sketches, and it got kind of annoying to me. But yeah.
Well, for me, I just really liked her being over the top. There's like certain actors from Nickelodeon that, like, I don't really mind when they're over the top. Actually, find them actually pretty funny. So like they had like one earlier today where somebody writes in and they're like, actually, I'm just getting really sick and tired of every time that I ride my bike, I'm always running into cars, running into walls, into oncoming traffic. I mean, I'm really tired of it. Like, do you have any advice how I can stop doing this? And she's just like, use the freaking brakes. What's the matter with you? And she kind of did it like.
No, I like the premises. My favorite part of the sketches was always like the letters that they wrote in, because I thought the letters were really creative, like the letters from the audience or whatever. Because I remember one specifically was like, "Dear Ashley, I've been holding my breath for a really long time now. I'm really starting to turn blue and purple. I really would like to take a breath, but I really don't know how. So what do I do? Can you help me?" And she was like, "Take a freaking breath." But like her response was my least favorite.
There he is.
So, I mean, there he is.
We have a late entry to the game. We have
Hey, Malcolm.
What's up?
Good.
It's good to have you. So yeah, we're just talking about the show, all that, where we want to rank it. So I mean, for me, like, I would rank it high. Like, I think that it's a pretty funny. I mean, we won't really talk about the reboot to all that because I just didn't think that was good at all. I mean,
but I don't think that hurts the original content though, because the original run was very, very strong. Like I don't really count a reboot against the original, because I'm not really counting the reboot in this. But yeah,
pretty strong. Yeah. So like for the original though, like I really like all the cast. Like, I almost found almost every single one of the original cast members funny. I mean, they all were pretty solid. So for me, I'd put it pretty high. Like seeing it as what we have here, I would put it at the very top of us as for what we have here. But we're gonna have a little debate about that. It could fall possibly somewhere else. But What do you think, Malcolm? So we're just kind of just taking turns going around the horn, but we're talking about all that. What do you think of all that?
I mean, I loved all that. I always really enjoyed every episode, every skit, everything they did on it. I totally agree with it being an S tier. For me, I'd put it below Rugrats. So like I like everything else. It's already an S tier a lot more than all that. But
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's a little.
Fair enough.
It's a little debatable to where it ends up. But at the end, we're going to do a solid ranking of the S tier, and just so you know, we're only allowing 10 picks into the S tier, so we've got to come with the top 10 by the end. So if we have more than 10, something's got to get bumped off eventually. So but
given the fact that we have 12 on there so far, and only 6 of them are in S tier, so there's been some good debates. We haven't put everything, everything in S tier. So, but Malcolm, anything that stands out? Well, can you scroll back up for Mountain? Is there anything that stands out to you so far that you would either agree or disagree with?
When the Stimmy's rated high, that's solid F tier. It's
really.
I really did not find that funny. Like I watched the first season. Like, I'm not going back to Ren and Stimpy.
Okay, fair enough.
Should I give my take on all that as well? And then get mine yet?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah.
For me, I was keep all that in S tier. I'll probably put, based on this legacy, I'll probably behind SpongeBob, and I love the sketches. Good Burger even has its own pop-up shop in LA. Vital Information. Dirty Fetcher Pierre. The Repair Man, and all that.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think that's a solid spot for it. So I think next was me. So
we're up next, Jordan, and then we'll get to our newbie late arrival, Malcolm.
Yep.
Well, but think about what you got so far. Let Malcolm see that so we can know at least what he has left over, and let him be able to look at it for a second. And then Jordan, you go ahead and get whatever you're going to pick.
So I want to pick one a little out of left field. That's one that I absolutely love. So I want to go with the show Cat Scratch. So I don't know if many of you have really seen it, but
I've already seen clips of it. So,
like, I didn't think that it had a very long run. It might only been 1 or 2 seasons, maybe even 3, I think. But like, the show was absolutely laugh out loud hilarious. Just like, and it had some pretty iconic voice casting. I actually want to see if I can see it. Cat Scratch.
Whether it was Cameron McDonald, I believe one of them
cast.
The voices.
I know they had Wayne Knight. He was one in the Kevin McDonald. Yep, and they had Rob Paulson in there. So you had a pretty solid voice cast there. But like, there's just some funny episodes. There's this one where they're like going to the grocery store and they're like trying to pick out what kind of ice cream they want to get. But then the main Cat Scratch, he keeps doing like a poison check because he wants to like do this thing to like make sure that the ice cream's not poison. So he'll like jump in there and it's like really off the wall. Be like, poison checking for poison, and he'll like grab it out of their hands and like kind of gobble it up really quick. Nope, not poison. And he kept doing that over and over. It's one of those things where like sort of like the repeat joke, like the more that he keeps doing it, the funnier that it gets over and over. And you're just like, why does he keep doing it? But it's funny. So I mean, for me, like I would put it pretty high. Like I actually love Cat Scratch. I mean, personally, like. I would want to put it in the S tier, but like I understand that like probably not as many people have seen it or maybe even heard of it. So I mean, I would give it probably a solid A. I would probably put it right below Ren and Stimpy for me. But what do you guys think? We'll go to Malcolm. Have you ever seen Cat Scratch, or do you know much about it?
I have not seen Cat Scratch.
All right. Well, we'll either the two of you guys seen it. Do you know anything about it?
I haven't seen it. Just clips of it. That's all I've seen.
Okay. Well, Austin.
Well, I just looked it up, and the fact that it only has 1 season with 20 episodes, and the fact that nobody's heard of it except you, it cannot be A tier. I'm sorry, Jordan. You cannot be. The fact that nobody's ever heard of it, and it has
those kind of unsung things that like nobody really gave it.
Well, I totally understand that, but it was also 15 years ago, and the fact that it has not developed a following since then kind of speaks to maybe it wasn't as memorable as you thought it was. I mean, if you appreciate the show as much as you do, I celebrate that. That's awesome. But to put it above Hey Arnold, which had like 12 seasons and a huge following, to put it above Danny Phantom, which had a huge following, Jimmy Neutron, which had movies, video games, giant fan following.
Attraction.
You can't put it in the same level as that. You just can't. It's the show with 20 episodes that nobody's heard of. I'm sorry, dude. I think you're gonna get overruled on this one. Well, to put it above those that have legacies and a cultural impact, I mean, I'm okay with like B level, but if you love it that much, but to put it above some of those shows,
a C.
C, yeah. Well, I don't know how you put it above your own iCarly.
Right. I mean,
this had one season, so no one heard of it.
One season and 20 episodes, and nobody's heard of it, bro. Like, what are you gonna like? The reason why that's my argument.
I mean, the one thing I'll say, if most of us haven't seen it, might as well just put into the haven't seen it columns. There's really not much. It's one of those ones that's really hard for one person to rank.
There's not enough to make an argument for or against it. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, for me, the reason why we have it above iCarly, because I think iCarly belongs in S, and this would be A. but I got
but we all have liked and at least heard of and have seen Fairly Odd Parents. You can't put it above Fairly Odd Parents. We all at least enjoy that.
Even Jimmy Neutron too.
Well, I like it better, but
Jimmy Neutron and Hey Arnold. Come on, man, it can't be above those.
I'm gonna be the odd one.
Like and appreciate those
because I don't really like any of those shows that much.
I think it at least goes to the back of B tier, personally. The back of B tier.
Put it on the back of a B tier and kind of see where it falls, and it may even fall further. We'll see. But we'll go over to Malcolm. So we're just going around the horn, taking turns. So you're up. You can pick one you want to rank.
I mean, I'm going to go for the one that I completely forgot was Nickelodeon. When I saw this on the list as Animorphs, I really love these books, and that this is one that it's one of those shows which I really wish they would release on DVD. Like, I think you can find it in bits and pieces around, but it's really hard to find now. But this is one of those ones that I watched. I mean, it's definitely not one that I would say was S tier just because it did have a short one. But I would probably. But yeah, I mean, like if you look at the cast, a lot of them have gone up. To do other things, like Sean Ashmore went to X-Men and all that.
Yeah, for sure.
And even Brooke has popped up in a few episodes of Charmed and other things. But I mean, I would say maybe about top of B above iCarly personally. But
why were on Google before?
Yeah, I didn't mean to switch it. I'm searching on the wrong tab, my bad. But we're still good. But yeah. So where would you put it? You say B? Is that what you?
B. Okay.
I'll probably put it B just above iCarly.
Okay. Brian, what do you think? Animorphs. Have you seen it? And what do you think?
I have not seen Animorphs. Like, if I find it somewhere, I don't know where I can find it and watch it.
Yeah, so in Austin, since Brian
I want to say, I did see Animorphs in its run, and it really only had about 20 some odd episodes. I don't remember it getting a super huge run. I really think the legacy of the books has kind of way eclipsed the TV show, kind of like Goosebumps. Goosebumps had a run as well, but on TV. But I think people more fondly remember the books over the show. So for that reason, I don't think it's like an S or A level, just because I don't think the show has as much of a lasting legacy as the books did. And the TV show was okay. I mean, I think it was a fairly good adaptation of it, but I think a B level is pretty fair for Animorphs for sure.
Yeah, and I would agree too. Like so, I've seen like some sporadic episodes here and there, and I really like the cast, but for me, I never really got into the books very much. So I mean, I wasn't really like big into the Animorphs. I feel like Animorphs would kind of like maybe came out when I was in high school, and so like I just didn't really get into it very much. But I think I saw B tier. I didn't really have anything like good or bad to really say about it. On the episodes I saw were just kind of like solid enough. so yeah, I think B. So yeah, so we'll.
All right, Brian, what do you
move on
got?
to Brian.
Okay, for me, I gotta go with Ned's Classified School Survival Guide.
Okay, let's see. That's one of the later entries in here. I know.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
And
Where would you rank it?
I would give it an S tier.
Give it an S tier. Ooh.
Yes, this is
Ooh.
a show I grew up watching a lot. Once it ended, I watched most of the episodes. I love the characters on the show. Ned, Cookie, the teachers were one of the greatest parts of the series. Even like the this episode where they had a crossover like Fairy Odd Parents in one of the episodes, the dream sequence with Ned, and I pretty much love watching the show. It's one of my top 10 favorite Nickelodeon shows.
All right, Austin, what do you think? Have you seen it?
I've only seen a little bit of Ned's, a couple episodes here and there. To me, there wasn't really a whole lot of things super memorable about it, and I don't think it quite has enough of a impact or a fan base or even a legacy. I know it was only like 2 or 3 seasons. I just don't know if it has. Yeah, okay, 3 seasons. So I don't think it's like up. I could not put it up there with like Rugrats and Keenan and Kel and SpongeBob. Like to put it up there, I think is a little strong. The writing was okay, the acting was okay. I don't think it's got like we have to talk about where it holds up as far as pop culture when we're making this list, and I don't think Ned's makes the cut for that.
Where would you want to rank it? Do you think?
B level. BC level.
Okay.
BC level.
Yeah. Yeah, for me too. Like I'd probably rank it about a B. Like I watched it, I thought that it was good when I was a kid. I remember thinking that the main girl was kind of cute, but I mean, I never really got into it that much. But I do have to say though that's one of those live action shows that didn't really follow the like current format that they were doing it, of like kids just like running around like crazy, like they're super hyper and have like crazy ADHD. Like they didn't really do that. The humor was a little more like clever, a little more written out, and like you had the third person. You had Nettie that always talk to the camera, so it gave me like a slight little bit of Ferris Bueller vibe. But I mean, but even still, like I can't really rank it ahead of some of these. I mean, I'd probably put it in the B tier right after iCarly. That's just me. But what do you think, Malcolm? Have you seen it?
I've seen it. I'm going to date myself a bit. When Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide came out, I was almost 20. I was probably about 19, so I was definitely not in the age bracket they were looking for.
Well, Malcolm, we did a thing at the beginning. Can I get it from you? We did a thing at the beginning where we all said our age, what year we were born, because it kind of helps the audience maybe understand like where we're coming from as far as like when we watched Nickelodeon and what things. So can you give the audience that real quick?
I'm 35.
Okay, so you're the same age as me and about the same age as Jordan. So yeah, okay,
yep,
fair enough.
If I'm 35,
but yeah, I mean, like Ned's, like I personally, I watched it. There was some funny moments. Like I personally probably would put it all the way down to F, but because there really isn't anything down there at the moment, I'm happy with it being starting off in B10 now. Like who knows where we'll end up after this.
Yep.
Yeah, I just don't think it has the same kind of just brand or name recognition as a Rugrats, as a SpongeBob, as a Double Dare. Like it's just nowhere near that. I'm sorry. Yeah, like Brian, I'm glad you enjoy it, Brian. I really am. Like again, I celebrate all this stuff. If you guys love these shows, I celebrate that. That's awesome. I just again we have to take into account the impact it's had on pop culture as well, not just Nickelodeon. So and I just don't think it's in that same league. That's all.
I mean, like it's one of those ones in that I really do not hear anyone talking about wanting to reboot Ned's. Like you hear it for everything else, on here, because I'm pretty sure I actually heard somewhere that they're looking at doing a new Ren and Stimpy, but a lot of these have had some form of reboot within a movie, which is something I did not think Legends of the Hidden Temple would ever have.
Right. Yeah, for sure. I would agree, but all right. Well, Austin, you're up. So
okay, I got to see what we got. What we're working with here. Let me see. All right, I got to swing for the fences. So all my three that I was the strongest about are already up there. So let me go for another one. See if I can't make an argument. I'm gonna go for Pete and Pete. Let's go Adventures of Pete and Pete for S tier. Let's throw it up there.
Pete.
Yeah,
I did a little bit
let me see if I can.
Of a Pete and Pete binge last night, but yeah. Go ahead and tell us what you think.
So I think this show was super original and creative at the time, and it had 3 seasons. It didn't fall into the trap of having like a bad laugh track. It was just a show that followed the characters, no laugh track, just laid out the humor, laid out everything, and then you laughed at your own pace, essentially. But they had a lot of really creative stuff, fantastic side characters, a really good family that you could follow, really strong comedy, but also strong story elements. But they did some really great stuff. You had Artie, the strongest man in the world, on there, just some really absurd stuff. The mom's plate in her head got a portion of the credits, the opening credits, as a credit. Like, that's just amazingly creative in itself. It has a fantastic theme song that when you watch it is instantly recognizable. It's just one of those shows that actually gets better with age. Everybody that talks about it, when you go back and watch it, it just holds up better and better and better, especially just the narration. Like I said, the very strong writing. It was kind of just ahead of its time, which is why it didn't last beyond the 3 seasons. But those 3 seasons are very, very strong. So I'm going to make my argument. I'll probably get outvoted, but I'm going to at least shoot my shot here.
So where do you want to rank it? For your final rank?
Okay, maybe not totally S tier, but I'd put it pretty strong A tier. Pretty strong A tier for me.
All right. So like maybe Hyatt.
I would put it, for me personally, above Hey Arnold and Ray and Stimpy. Yeah, for me personally. But I'm open to everybody else.
Yeah, for me, so I watched about 10 episodes of it, and like I was pretty impressed. Like there's some pretty good writing, with some solid acting that like a little bit like kind of dated for its time, but like I feel like if they were to just kind of update the time period with the same cast, same actors, like it'd still be pretty entertaining. And like some of the side characters, you have that like open faced bully kid who like is always after him and stuff, and like I thought that the Pete and Pete, like I think that the younger brother went on to do something. I don't know if he was on all that.
Danny Tamborelli, the younger brother, he went on to be on all that. He was a frequent guest on Figure It Out. I mean, he was a staple on Nickelodeon for years and years. Yeah, Danny Tamborelli.
And then he got on to voice a character in Grand Theft Auto 5.
Oh wow!
He's the teenage son that just plays video games all day of Michael, the character. Yeah, he's the voice of that character. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Right on. So yeah, but for me though, like I do feel like it's a little outdated, but I still really enjoyed it enough to like keep going for about 10 episodes until it got too late. It's time for me to go to bed. But so yeah, for that reason, I'd probably give it a solid A tier. So yeah, I'm actually happy where it's at. So, but what do you think, Malcolm?
Malcolm, have you seen it, and do you like it?
I have seen Pete and Pete. I thought it was fine. I personally would probably put it just above Ned's declassified in B.
Okay.
Because it's just one of those ones. Like for me, it's similar to Ned in that it's another one that I don't really hear anyone talking about it a lot now, and it's one that I personally have not thought about ever since it ended anymore. But yeah, I mean, but going down the cast, it's like there's so many people I did not realize was even in this. Like you had Michelle Trachtenberg was in this, Adam Rest. So I mean, there's definitely a lot of people that appeared in there. Also, Steve Buscemi and then you had J.K. Simmons guest starring at times. There's a lot of talent that has popped up in this. but it's just one of those ones that for me, it was a fine show, but it's also one that I've not thought about it since, and just not one I wanted to revisit. So
Yeah, fair enough. Brian, what do you think?
I haven't seen the show, so
You haven't seen it? Okay. Well, I think
I will say, just to its legacy, it's right now with the Paramount Plus streaming all the Nickelodeon stuff. It's the #1 most requested thing on like the Reddit pages that they haven't added yet. So I would go that as far as its legacy, just towards my argument, and the fact that if you bring up any nostalgic Nickelodeon, people making their top 10s and things, Pete and Pete is frequently on almost everybody's list, especially people who grew up in the 90s. And so I think it's up there just because I think it does have a really solid name recognition, and a lot of people have seen it and do like it. It's just, unfortunately, it's not as widely available right now to rewatch, but a lot of people, it is on DVD, but like it just hasn't been on the streaming services. And I think it would have a resurgence should it get added to the streaming services.
And I just found some episodes on YouTube. So on YouTube, I think they have the entire first season. I mean, it's not the greatest quality. It's kind of like older quality, but I mean, it's fine for me. But yeah, we got 2 A's, one B, but I think that's a solid spot, though. I mean, just leave it where it's at. I think that's about good. So we're gonna go to the next. So it's my turn, right?
Yeah. Good, Jordan. I mean, also just went. So
yeah.
Yeah, it's your turn, Jordan.
Well, so I mean, I'm kind of focusing more on the really good ones. I just want to do at least one bad one before we just focus on the S tier. But I want to go with Hey Dude. So Hey Dude. Hey Dude was the very first live action scripted series for Nickelodeon that they ever did, and like I went back to watch it for that reason. Like it was just cringeworthy. It was just so bad. Like I'm just like, is this even a show? Like what is this? Just these guys on like Dude Ranch, but the dialogue's so cheesy and bad. Like it's just like really poorly written, and just like I just don't really care for it. Like I didn't even give it an F, but like seeing as we don't have anything below B, we could put it in the C tier and that'd be fine. But like I didn't really care for any of the acting. It was super outdated. I just didn't really care for it. But what do you think, Malcolm? About Hey Dude?
Haven't seen it.
Okay, what about Brian?
Haven't seen it.
So Austin?
Yeah, Hey Dude, it doesn't hold up. It's one of those ones that gets brought up a lot as far as because people have fond memories in their head because it was one of the first ones that got played a lot early, along with Double Dare, along with Ren and Stimpy and all that stuff that was early 90s Nickelodeon. But when you actually go back and watch it, yeah, it's not good. It's like soap opera bad. It's pretty poor for the most part. It's the best thing about it really is the theme song. The theme song is pretty catchy, but other than that, like it's pretty much downhill right after that. The writing doesn't hold up. Yeah, the acting is poor. The premise is even poor. It's just like all these people just walking around a ranch. Like it's really pretty boring. Like there's nothing that really stands out around it. And I think it just has that name recognition again because people just remember seeing, I think, the theme song over and over again, but they didn't actually sit around to watch the show. So yeah, I'd put it like a D level. Like it's not the worst thing ever. I can't totally go like F tier, but like D, it's like a strong D. Like it's not good. It just, for me, it just doesn't hold up. I rewatched a couple episodes in my build up to this one. Yeah, it doesn't hold up. It's not good.
Yeah, for sure. But
so you can even bump it down to like a D for me personally.
I'd be fine with that. I mean, yeah, like
that could be blasphemous for a few people, but I have a feeling that like the people who have fond memories of it only have fond memories of the theme song in the opening.
Right.
They don't actually go back and watch it. Yeah. It's one of those weird
things. Up with all the other really good shows. It was one of the.
Well, it was blocked. Like I said, it was blocked in like these blocks of like better shows, so it gets lumped into that. But it was easily the weakest link of those shows.
Yep. Well, so now since we're at the, we're less than 10 minutes from the 2 hour mark. This is what I like to kind of call like give the wheel a final spin, kind of like Wheel of Fortune. So like basically now we're just focusing on like S tier level shows. So we want to try to get a solid top 10. So when you make your next choices, because we're probably not going to be able to rank everything on the list. We just don't have enough time. But
almost stops anyways.
Yeah, but just focus on the S tier if you can. So So we're gonna throw it over to Malcolm and let's see if there's anything you want to rank. What do you got?
We can't hear you.
Oh, it's muted.
Oh yeah, you're
Muted. Muted.
There we go.
I was
There we
getting there. Yeah, there's definitely a few there. I mean, there's some obvious ones that I think will get there eventually, but I'm going to go for one that I absolutely love because I love this actress on a different show, which was also 90s.
I think it was.
It is Clarissa Who Explains It All.
Oh yeah, for sure.
This is a show that I really love. I did get onto Sabrina before I even knew Clarissa Who Explains It All was even a show. But this is one that I watched back in the 90s. I watched it constantly. It's one that I'd love for them to revisit and have Melissa Joan Hart as the parent and cast someone else as the kid and make a new star out of them. But this is one that I think was a really great show. It was a really fun, and Melissa Joan Hart was just great as an actress back then. And yeah.
All right, Brian, what do you think? Clarissa Explains It All.
I agree. This is a great show. I even love the theme song. Nah. Yeah, I haven't seen it before, but I saw some episodes today before we went live. And it's a pretty good show. I agree. It does deserve like a revival or coming back to it. So probably, I would say probably an A tier. I would keep where it is right now for it.
I forgot to ask. So Malcolm, what tier did you want to put it in? You say
S tier.
All right. So I'll leave it here for now, but we'll get some more arguments. What do you think, Austin?
I'm inclined to agree with Malcolm for the most part. The only thing holding me back is I went back and watched about 6 episodes again. Like, I've seen the entire series. I saw it in its original run, watched all of it, went back and watched it. It doesn't hold up as well as some of these other ones. It's a little wonky. Like, the acting is a little strange. Melissa Joan Hart, like, she's pretty good. Although I think the parents are better actors than her, and I think even the little brother Ferguson is a better actor than her. She's actually one of the weaker links in the show, if that makes any sense. The show, it's got some creativity. They do some stuff where she's like playing games on her computer and she's like making up games as she goes along. There's some interesting stuff that pops up on the screen. It had a creative element to it. I definitely think it's one of the OGs of the network that did a good job of cementing Nickelodeon. I have a hard time putting it in S tier just because it just didn't hold up as well as some of these other ones. So I would go like a strong A, just me personally.
All right, yeah. So I didn't really watch much of it when it in its original run. Like, I saw maybe 3 or 4 episodes, but I did go back and watch a couple. And then one episode actually had Michelle Trachtenberg as like a really young, like, little girl in it. Like, she was in that too. Mm-hmm. She was really strong in it. Like, she definitely outshined Melissa Joan Hart. I mean, I grew up watching Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Like, I really liked that show despite it. Like, I always thought that it was pretty cheesy, but I still liked it anyways. And but like I kind of agree with Austin. Like, I don't really think that the like writing and like some of the elements of the show really hold up, but I do still think it's a pretty solid show overall. I'd give it probably a strong A tier. Like, I'd be right just putting in A tier.
I think it might eke into the top 10. I just wouldn't put it near the top. You know what I mean? It might eke into like those, like, just on the edge. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not arguing really strong against it. I'm just like, is it better than all that? And like Double Dare and Kenan and Kel? Not really. Right. You know, like, but it's kind of on that edge. So yeah, just for me.
Yeah, right. So I'm gonna say, like, we'll probably stick around until we get a solid top 10. But if anyone needs to run, that's totally fine. Now it's getting later for some.
I'm totally cool right now. Yeah, I'm good.
But yeah, like, I'm totally good to go until we get.
All right, Brian, what do you got?
Yeah,
let's see what's left. Probably will go with let's go with Doug.
Mm.
All right, Doug. Classic. What do you think?
I was probably give it an let's see. I'll probably put an S.
Okay.
S tier.
Yep.
What would you say? S.
I would say S because of the time. Well, the era was like with all Nicktoons, like it came with Rugrats, came with Ren and Stimpy, came with Rocco, and plus the fact that it got its own movie, and plus the way it moved from Nickelodeon to Disney Channel afterwards. Plus, you got the characters Roger, Patty Mayonnaise, Pork Chop.
Skeeter.
Yep.
Skeeter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what do you think, Austin?
Yeah, I'll back you up on that. It was the next one I was probably going to go to, just because again I feel like those three Nicktoons that kind of started it all back in '91, which was like we said, Rugrats, Doug, and Ren and Stimpy, all need to at least be in the conversation of some of the best because they were the foundation, really laid the foundation for Nicktoons, and are very, very fondly remembered. I think Doug has a great name recognition. A lot of people remember. A lot of people remember fondly. I watched a few episodes leading up to this. It holds up pretty well. I didn't have any cringe stuff. Like the writing was really solid. The voice acting was very, very good, and the animation style was unique. So it looked kind of like a mix of old school and new school. Like it looked really cool, and I think like it's had a lasting legacy. Like people can still hum the theme song to this day, and I think it's got a really strong following, and it's got enough of that to where I think it's definitely in S tier. I don't know if I'd put it near the top, but it's definitely in that top 10. I would probably put it there for sure.
Yeah, for me, so I grew up watching Doug. I've seen almost every episode, but I don't know. Like it's really hard for me to give it a solid S tier. Like I just think that like it's not quite as strong as some of the other things on the list. And like if I just look at like what we already have here, like I like Clarissa better. I like Pete and Pete better. I like Ren and Stimpy better. Maybe even Hey Arnold a little better. So I'd put it probably A tier, just below Hey Arnold. Not just me, but like I totally understand the argument for doing S tier. It's one of the like first like 3 or 4 Nicktoons that there ever was, pretty much, and it lasted long enough that I don't know if it actually got canceled and then moved over to Disney, or if Disney just straight up just
I think Disney bought it. I believe. Yeah, that's how it worked.
Yeah, but I think most people remember the Nickelodeon run the fondest for sure.
Yep, right. But like, I mean, I'd probably give it a solid A tier. I want to put it just below Hey Arnold for me, but what do you think, Malcolm? For Doug?
Mute it again.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So for this is a tricky one because of the whole fact. There's a whole Disney thing. I think for the purpose of this, we can only count the 4 seasons that was on Nickelodeon for this, because otherwise then it gets into other grey areas.
Right.
Yeah.
But and with that being said, I think White Red is an S tier is perfect because the Nickelodeon run was just perfect. It was great. It's one of the cornerstones of Nickelodeon as well. Just because
well,
I think 3 S's and an A. I think 3 S's and an A kind of puts it right in the middle of the S tier, middle to back of the S tier. So I think that's
right. Yeah,
pretty fair.
And honestly, I don't have any argument with it being in the S tier. So like, I'm totally happy with that. So I think maybe we'll leave it right there for now, and then we'll see if we want to move it up maybe.
All right.
In a minute. But so let's see. Is it
Austin?
Me.
Austin?
Yeah. Okay. All right. So
what do you got?
All right. So I'm gonna try to get another S tier or two. Let's see what we got.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna try to get a good one. I'm gonna make my argument for Are You Afraid of the Dark? I think it needs to be in there for S tier. So, because I think if we left it out of there, we'd get some hate mail, to be honest.
Yeah.
So here we go. So Are You Afraid of the Dark? really unique for the time because it was really essentially a horror anthology, which you don't get a whole lot of, especially back in the 90s, other than Tales from the Crypt. And I think it's got the name recognition and the legacy almost about as much as Tales from the Crypt has. Are You Afraid of the Dark? I mean, even to this day, they rebooted it like a few years ago, just because, and people were watching it because it's really strong. I think it had like 6 seasons or something like that. And while not every single episode was like a masterclass, it did create some really, really memorable stuff. Every episode at least had a unique story. It had a nice atmosphere. The acting is a little tad outdated, very 90s-ish, but only because they use a lot of kid actors. So to be fair, you're not doing like an adult show with adult actors like a Twilight Zone or something like that. But there's some really striking imagery. They did some really memorable stuff. I think the fact that people still talk about it to this day and hold it in such high regard as a pinnacle of Nickelodeon, and the fact that they just really had the balls to do like a horror anthology really was like ahead of its time. So I think Are You Afraid of the Dark is definitely up there. Greatest of all time, like top of S tier, maybe not really, because again, the quality was, a little up and down, but even the stuff that was bad was like still not bad, but like even the stuff that was mediocre was still pretty good and entertaining. So I would put it up there.
Yeah, for me, like I would echo everything that you just said. Like I would agree. Like it's a solid S tier for me. And the only other thing I can think of that was kind of like it that you didn't mention was the Goosebumps series that they had for a little bit. They had a little bit of an
That was pretty
anthology
good.
there. But
we talked about a little bit with Animorphs. Like I talked about how like Goosebumps had a series too, but I don't think Goosebumps was as memorable as Are You Afraid of the Dark? Well, Are You Afraid of the Dark had the better opening, the better atmosphere. It was a little creepier with the Midnight Society stuff, and the fact that it had like a wraparound segment of people telling the story, I think was really a cool element to it. They didn't just like jump right into it. So I think it was pretty unique and really fun for the time.
I would agree with all of that. I think that this was like the better of the two, like probably by a long shot. Like honestly,
yeah, for sure.
And like I grew up reading all the Goosebumps book, but I like this even better. And like maybe watching it as an adult, like you watch and you're like all right, like not really that creepy, not like a lot of kid actors, but like for its time, you put yourself like it.
This scared the crap out of a lot of kids at the time, dude. Like people were having nightmares over these shows, some of the stuff in these shows, and you have to take that into account.
Yeah, right. So
for sure.
Yeah, so you put yourself like in the mindset, like when you were a kid, it's definitely super creepy and stuff. Mm-hmm. So like I would put it like in a solid S tier. I would even put it above Rugrats. That's just me because like I'm okay. I'm like so when it comes to Rugrats, but like I understand the argument maybe right there, but
we'll talk about that later. We'll talk about it later.
But what do you think, Malcolm?
I've probably seen one episode of this, but I've never really. It's not one I've really sat down to watch. And I'm one of the ones that regularly watch Goosebumps all the time and love Goosebumps more.
If you like Goosebumps, you'll like Are You Afraid of the Dark, man, for sure. Yeah, and I'll maybe in the chat after the show, I'll recommend you a couple of the best episodes so you can get a little taste of it. Because some of them are available on YouTube and streaming services and things. But like there's some really, really disturbing stuff on it for what it was. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I do got to give a little
Brian.
Shout out.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Should I go or Jordan goes?
Well, so my usual co-host Chris, I'll just say this really quick. This is just super fast, but like my usual co-host Chris, like he gave a couple of quick recommendations before he took off on his little honeymoon trip with his wife or his trip for his anniversary. But he definitely said, put Are You Afraid of the Dark in the S tier, and also Doug. Those are two that he mentioned. So like
they're in there right now.
Well, I know his vote technically doesn't count here because he's not here. Sorry, you got to show up for your vote to count. But I just wanted to mention that though. But Brian, go ahead.
I haven't seen it. I can't. I don't watch. I'll do not watch horror.
Okay.
See, I'm a big horror fan, so that's why I love it. Because it was really good. It's one of the things that got me. It's a good like bridge to horror because it's like kind of still got that kid element to it, but like it's a good starter pack for horror. If you want a little bit, but not too much. But yeah, it's good stuff, man. I'll recommend you guys some episodes in the chat. It's really good.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think
was
we would get like hate comments if it wasn't at least mentioned in there for sure.
Yeah, right.
How can you guys leave off Are You Afraid of the
like,
Dark? What's the matter with you? Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yep. So it's my turn.
All right, so Jordan, your turn. Yeah, hit me.
Yeah, there's 3 or 4 that I could make a solid case for, so I got to decide what I want to do. Probably. Jeez, this is tough. Like, I almost want to.
I feel like there's a lot of like A and B level shows, but it's hard to make an argument for some of these for being S level.
S.
You know what I mean? Because like I feel like there's a lot of really good stuff on here, like really solid stuff. That's like we could put a lot of things in like A and B level, but to really cut, like I said, we're gonna have to be really careful about what we put in S tier and be have that scrutiny. So yeah, it's
some of these I haven't seen before. So
yeah, right. And I always want to make an argument for Kablam, just for like. For the Action League Now, like the little action figure show, like when you go back and watch the Action League Now, you can look up some episodes even on YouTube, and like it's so good. Like the writing's good. The like jokes are like hit super well. Like it's kind of a show. It's a little ahead of its time, and it's just action figures on like strings and like just just doing kind of cheesy little movements, but the writing's was so strong that I almost want to say it, but it didn't really have its own show. Like it was.
But Kablam is like the Action League Now stuff in Kablam is like S level, but everything else in the show was like BC level. To be honest,
yeah, right.
Like, if you go back and watch it, like that's why I couldn't put it in S level. Like the overall show, like if it, so I mean, Kablam was good because of that, and Prometheus and Bob, but like everything else is kind of mediocre at best. So like, yeah, I have to take the show as a whole, to put it in S level.
Well, for me, I think I got to go with Rocko's Modern Life. I think that's one.
That should be S tier.
Yeah, I think S tier because like I watched all of Rocko's Modern Life on its original run. Then they brought it back for actually new episodes. So they
brought that for a movie, I believe.
Yeah, and
I mean it's one of those ones that I think it was more just a double episode in a movie because it wasn't like 90 minutes in there. It was only about 40-50 minutes, so it wasn't feature length anyway.
Right, yeah, but like I thought that the humor was just super funny in it, like the way that like you just get an inside look into this dog's head who's just living with it. This old couple, like the old couple's funny, like Rocco's funny. Then they got like I think. Like Rocco
big
has something like that. Yeah. So I thought that it's super solid. And honestly, for me, like I enjoy it more than like shows like Rugrats and stuff. That's just me. But like I love Rocco's Modern Life. So like it's one that I've gone back to rewatch several times. Like probably I've seen the entire run twice all the way through. Like yeah. So I would put it S tier. But what do you think, Malcolm, for Rocco's Modern Life?
Yeah, I mean, Rocko's Modern Life is one that I always watched as a kid, and it's one of those ones that the quality's always been there. It's one that I really do enjoy. I mean, I personally would put it in A, just under Hey Arnold.
Okay.
But I mean, it's one of those ones. It is a good show. The Netflix movie Static Cling they did is really not as good. It really loses a lot from the magic of the show. But that being said, I don't know whether I'm not going to really count that against it. But the show itself was good, but I don't think it's S level myself.
All right, so Brian, what do you think?
I enjoy Rocko's Modern Life. As I would probably put about like right behind Rugrats.
All right, yeah. I mean, I think that's super solid. But Austin, what do you think?
Yeah, this is a tough one because I really enjoyed it when I was a kid, and then my ex actually really wanted to watch this show, so I bought her a few seasons on Vudu, and I kind of watched it a little bit with her. It held up really, really well. Like the acting and the writing was really, really solid. I was surprised at how well it held up, and I remember having fond memories of it, but like it's really strong. It's a lot stronger than I think a lot of people realize.
Yeah.
Would I put it above Doug and Are You Afraid of the Dark? Not really. But I could go for like a soft S, like literally like a number 10, like just eking it in. Or like a strong A, something like that. Like it's up there. It's up there. But would I put it above? Totally above Rugrats and Are You Afraid of the Dark? Not really, but it's really good. It holds up very, very well, and that's a big thing for me if it holds up on modern viewing, and it really does.
Right. Yeah, so I think that's a solid spot, maybe just at the very end of
Yeah, like kind of right at the tail end right there. Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. So Malcolm, you're up. Do you got anything you think could maybe be S level? I can see a couple, but
I mean, there is definitely a couple. I'm gonna go out the left field because I know there's one on one side of this that I know people will be yelling at us if we don't include it. But I'm going to not pick. I'm not going to pick what I think the people want to see. I'm going to pick what I think should be there.
Sure.
And that is
right. Yeah, it's all about personal choice.
I mean, and that is another game show. Let's figure it out. When it comes to the game shows, there's 3 big game shows I always watched, and that was Figure It Out, Double Dare, and Legends of Hidden Temple. I was about to say Legends of Tomorrow, not Nickelodeon, but
right.
But Figure It Out is just another one of those shows in which it's a lot of fun. And this one I thought was a lot of fun because you had like 3 panelists from various Nickelodeon shows. So I know and try to guess what these strangers who they've never met before do for a living just from asking them questions. And this was just a fun way to do a like 20 questions type show. And I just found it really interesting, just seeing the amount of different talents they got to be demonstrated on the show, and just seeing how crazy some of these panelists can get with their guesses. So it's just a lot of fun to me. I would easily say it's S tier.
Yeah. Brian, what do you think?
For me, I saw clips. I seen clips of the show. That was probably, we'll put an S tier, but probably A or B tier. I mean, it's good for whether it's good. I love how they brought like different panels that you have from all that, and I believe they got some guest stars from like different shows like Home Improvement or Nickelodeon as well.
Yeah.
So probably an A or B tier for me.
All right. What do you think?
Yeah,
Austin?
I'll kind of echo that sentiment. I think it's an A or B tier. I'm really critical of like the game shows. I was the one who nominated like Double Dare and Legends of the Temple. And to me, when it comes to the Nickelodeon game shows, in its legacy, I kind of go with, as a kid watching it, did you really want to be on that show? I wanted to be on Double Dare. I wanted to be on Legends of the Temple. I wanted to be on Guts, which might be a hit to what I might bring up in a minute. Figure Out is like, it was fun. It's okay. It was entertaining. I think it's good, but I think there wasn't enough creativity for the show to make it really stand out higher and in the same level as like Legends or Double Dare. For me, I just don't think it has that lasting impact that those shows had. So for me, it's like more of like a A-B tier.
Okay. Yeah. For me, like I think that I put an S tier. And here's my argument for it: is that so when I would watch shows like Legends of the Hidden Temple and Double Dare, those are shows I wanted to be on. I wanted to be a part of it, but like I kind of found myself just watching it from home, just kind of thinking, I don't want to watch this really. I want to be on it, I want to do all those things. But with Figure It Out, like I kind of felt like, well, like I don't really want to be on it, but I'm sure having a ton of fun watching it, just like playing along with all the different like things that we're trying to guess, and then they would dump different things on the cast if they like did some kind of like slime action, so you'd have slime, but you have other things they'd drop like all the fixings for tacos on them or like pasta, just like random stuff like that, and like like always would always have some kind of reason to like slime people, even if they were like weren't really doing anything. Like it's kind of funny that they have like the secret slime action is not paying attention. So they're like well, you weren't paying attention, but like clearly like you don't know if they were or not, but they just slimed them anyways. So like I always thought that was both kind of cheesy, but also kind of fun because you're going to make sure someone gets slimed no matter what. And if you really want someone to, you're going to see it happen. But so like I'd put it S tier just because I had so much fun watching it. Like the same way like how I play along with the Schmodown. Like I just love trying to like play along and like guess all the answers to the question. Let's see how well I can do. And like I did the same thing when I watched Figure It Out, but I probably wouldn't rank it very high. Like it'd be one of those ones that would just squeak into the S tier. So like I'd put it down at the bottom. So like it may even end up being just like an honorable mention possibly. We'll kind of see how it goes. But I kind of feel like the bottom of S tier is pretty solid. I mean, what do you guys think? Does that sound about right to you? Or would you say more like an A tier?
Well, Malcolm voted for S. I kind of voted for B. Brian kind of voted for B.
And
I think
S.
Yeah. So
I mean, I think somewhere in the A tier is probably the.
I think in the A tier is fair.
Right.
I just think to put it on the same level as like all that Legends of Double Dare, like it doesn't have
SpongeBob.
It just doesn't have that like it doesn't have that. There's something about it. It's just not in that same level, man. It doesn't get me amped up to watch it. Like it was on and it was in that block, but like there's something about it that just doesn't quite match up to the level of those. Like it's hard to put it into words, but it's not quite there.
Well, for me, like I just felt like Double Dare and the Legend of the Hidden Temple were all about the like challenges and like the physicality of it, but I figured out wasn't really meant to be physical, just meant to just like
I know, but also I think the show in some of its later parts got a little lazy. Like some of the stuff was kind of cool where they'd have like legitimate cool physical talents or abilities or they invented something pretty cool. I remember but I saw one episode where it was like she holds the record for the world's longest name. Well, is that really like a talent or an ability?
Yeah, right.
That's kind of lazy, dude. Like that's kind of lazy writing and or lazy like presentation. I think they got kind of sloppy in their later seasons, like, and didn't put as much scrutiny into it. Or it'd be like, I invented a buzzer when you put your elbows on the table. Like, so what?
Yeah,
like, that's stupid. Yeah. That's dumb, like science fair crap. Like I think the show got. I just don't think it was written or presented as well as some of these other ones. Just for me,
right. No, that makes sense. Yeah. Well, I think that's probably a fair.
Yeah, but that's cool.
Just right in the A tier. So yeah, we'll move on. Let's see. So, whose turn is it now? Is it Brian?
Mine.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Let's talk about choose from. So probably we'll go with probably Wild Thornberries.
All right. What do you think of Wild Thornberries? Where would you put it?
I'll probably put it like a S tier.
Okay.
I don't know.
What do you think? What do you say S tier?
I would say I love the dynamics. Like a girl talks to animals, and the father hosts like a Steve Irwin crocodile hunter type show. The character Donnie, Nigel, even Darwin, even the movie that came out of it.
Yeah, didn't they even do like a crossover with Rugrats too?
Yes.
Yeah. Huh. For a movie, right? Wasn't it?
Yes. Rugrats Go Wild.
Yeah, but what do you think, Austin?
Dude, that show. I'm sorry to use foul language. That show annoys the shit out of me. It's so annoying. I think the characters are grating. When that would come on the block of like the cartoons in the afternoon, I immediately change the channel. I think that the show is horrendously annoying. Just to me, to put it above like even Hey Arnold and Ray and Stimpy is a crime against humanity. I'm sorry, that show is not that good, dude. And it does not have the legacy of that.
From anyway, so
I'm glad you like it, Brian. But holy crap, that show annoys me, and I cannot argue for anywhere near.
It's all good.
That's like a D level show for me, man. Hardcore.
Wow. So D level. for me, like I don't know if I would go D, but give it like probably the lowest on the list so far besides Hey Dude. I put it just above Hey Dude, so that's not really saying much because Hey Dude's bad. But at the same time though, like it wasn't one that I would just turn off or anything when it came on. Like I always watched it, but I never found myself like being like that was the reason why I want to watch cartoons today. I'll just watch like the Rugrats, and the Rugrats would end, and the next thing up is Wild Bunbury. So I'm like, oh well, this is on. So
yeah, you just leave the TV on. You're not like invested in it. And the only reason I'm not putting an F tier is because Tim Curry was a part of it. And anything Tim Curry's part of was not totally F tier. So that's like literally the only argument I have for it. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, like I'd give it a solid C. Like I think that's like that's probably fair enough. But what do you think, Malcolm?
I loved the first season of the Wild Thornberries. Then the whole gimmick of it being a Eliza Doolittle, so to speak, Doolittle anyway. Just with animals, it kind of got boring after maybe the third season. I think C's a fair spot for it. But I mean, it's one of those ones. But everyone talks about Tim Curry being in it. But do you know who was the voice of Donnie?
No,
I can't remember.
No.
You know?
It was Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
Needles.
Dang.
Needles.
Old Needles.
Needles. Yeah, you're right. Needles. Yeah, nice.
Now Austin.
Yeah, I'm a huge Red Hot Chili Peppers fan, so like I kind of like that he's in there.
Yeah, I think C level is fair because a lot of us are kind of annoyed by it. But again, it's just to show that I think honestly, I think people watch it just because it was lumped in with everything else. I don't think people were like overly enthusiastic about it. I mean, if you are, that's cool. But man, I don't like the show that much.
There must have been some demand for it, because otherwise they wouldn't have made a movie of it, or they wouldn't have.
Oh no, I understand that. I totally understand that. Again, it's just not my cup of tea. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, yeah. No, I get that. I wasn't even going to go anywhere else with that.
Yep.
Yeah. All right.
Well,
let's see what we got left.
I was just kind of thinking like we could just open it up to see like if like anyone thinks anything left could possibly be an S tier. Like I do see.
I could make an argument for one. I could make an argument for one more, but I may be alone on it. Because I personally love Salute Your Shorts, but I don't think it's been seen enough to put it in there. Because it's very hard to find. It's very hard to watch. It's very very good, but it's hard to find. I would shoot my shot for my last game show, which would be Guts.
All right.
Because again, it was super unique and had a really kind of high budget, high aspirations for a game show at the time. I mean, it was almost like on the level of like an American Gladiators. Like it was really, really cool, like almost for kids, to where you had this extreme sports aspect. You had a lot of really unique challenges from episode to episode. You got three kids like battling it out. You had the aggro crag, which is like another thing where when you're watching it as a kid, you're like, man, I want to climb the aggro crag at the end. Like it's not quite on like it's not quite on the level of like I want to run the temple, but like it's pretty close. Like you see that thing and like that's really overly ambitious. Like you're climbing a mountain for the final challenge. Like that's pretty awesome. And it was really, really cool. The fact that you got medals like the Olympics, I think was really interesting. And then in the third season, you had Global Guts, which is like they literally brought kids from all over the world to compete. So you had kids from Russia, you had France, Spain, Mexico, everywhere like competing against Americans. Like it had a really cool both premise and execution. Had a lot of energy, and it's super, super fun to watch. And I think it really, really holds up, especially now. So I'm going to shoot my shot for Guts.
Well, yeah, like I think that maybe I would agree. Like there's not really a whole.
I wouldn't put it above like Legends and Double Dare and stuff like that. I wouldn't do that. But I think it's on the border of like SA to where I think it could at least be a very strong honorable mention, or maybe even a number 10. Like that's kind of what I'm going.
Yeah. Well, like I don't really think there's much more that I can say that you didn't really already say. Like I just thought that it was like cool how they like had these teams would compete against each other, kind of like made it like feel kind of like American Gladiators for kids, but then you have the Nickelodeon vibes. There's still some slime involved and different things, and so yeah, I would actually like think that's a perfect spot, like right where it is, right at the bottom of the S tier. Like I'm totally happy with that. So
because I think personally it's better than Figure It Out. So I can't put it below Figure It Out. It's better than Figure It Out. It's way more interesting.
Yeah, the only thing that like gets me with like Figure It Out, that you have all the people from all the shows appearing on there, so that makes it kind of fun. But at the same time, though, just like overall the like quality and like the money that they put into that in the guts was just better. Yeah,
it was really, really ambitious for the time. Like it's almost as ambitious as Legends was, as far as just the scale of stuff that they would do. You know, like how like every episode features something different and all these different types of events. Like they really put a lot of effort into it and money into it, and and shows on the screen and the presentation.
Yeah,
so,
right.
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to take up all the time, but Malcolm and Brian, I want to hear what you guys. Yeah,
I haven't seen it, so I can't say anything.
Go watch it; it's fun.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I also haven't seen it. I mean, after a quick Google search, I found out it was hosted by Burt Hamill from Glee. I wanted to say it's ST because
No.
That's
the reboot that they did. The My Family's Got Guts. I'm talking about the original run.
Okay.
Hosted by Mike O'Malley. Host of Get the Picture.
Mike O'Malley is Burt Hamill from Glee.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I thought you said somebody different.
No,
I'm sorry. I know they rebooted the show with a different thing. Yeah.
No, I just said the character's name from Glee.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, Mike O'Malley, the host, when he was 25 hosting the show, he looked 45. He's like always looked 45. Unfortunately, he's got that weird look to him where he's always looked old. But yeah, like it's so I'm sorry, I haven't watched Glee that much, so I apologize.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, now that I think about it, yeah, I remember he was on Glee, so my bad. But they did a reboot of the show recently. I can't remember who hosted it.
Yeah, Lions. I just googled it.
Yep, he was the teacher from Glee. Wow, nice. Yes. Well, one's gonna bring it down for just maybe like one or two more looks to see. I mean, I don't know if anyone's
really much.
To me, a lot of these are like solid like B tier stuff. You know what I mean? Like I can make A tier arguments for a few of them, but like I think a lot of them are kind of like right near the upper middle. You know, like upper middle. Because I like Wild and Crazy Kids, but it's not A level. I like Nick Arcade, but it's not quite up to the level of the other ones. Like it's good, but it's not overly great because it only had 2 seasons.
I mean,
Monsters, like I could make a case maybe for
but I don't think it has the name recognition and the longevity that some of those don't, man. I just don't think a lot of people remember it that much. It's good, but it's really unique and good, but I don't think a lot of people remember it or put it like in their top 10, so I couldn't put it in like S level.
I mean, there's one show I would argue about on this is Drake and Josh.
Oh yeah, Drake and Josh.
No, God,
absolutely.
No, show annoys me.
Yes, S tier. Like I'd put it in the S tier. Yes, I agree with that.
Jordan? Tell me you're kidding, please.
No, I'm not kidding. Drake and Josh is amazing. Like
no, Drake and Josh is annoying, dude. Wait, that's the ADHD stuff we're talking about, man.
Oh, did I leave it off the list?
Yeah, you did.
You might have.
Oh
well, it's not on the list. I guess we can't put it in S tier. Sorry, we got to move on to another one.
That's a sin. Like, I think I gotta.
I don't remember seeing it on the list when you put it in.
Yeah, dang.
No, that's just too bad. We'll have to argue for other things.
Oh yeah, it'd be really
good.
We're going to miss Drake and Josh for sure. It's not good.
We got Chris chiming back in.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris, you're back.
Chris, toward the end of the list.
Okay, you put Walker as that would be next to my list if I left.
Yeah. And also, I made a huge mistake. I forgot to include a graphic for Drake and Josh. Like for me, like I just thought that like the two of them together played really well off of each other, especially Drake. Like I really like
the side characters are great.
Yeah,
bro, they were the worst part of the Amanda show. They spun off the worst thing about the Amanda show was freaking Jake and Josh, man. Come on, they did it's a horrible spinoff. Those are the guys who were most annoying on there, and they rewarded them with a show. Come on, man, Jordan.
They were the best
part.
They were the most
annoying.
They're the best part.
He was like a poor man's Horatio Sands.
No way. Ugh. No way.
So, what have you put on the list so far for my miss?
Well,
we can kind of look at it. I can do like a little slow scroll. You can kind of see.
It has Miranda Cosgrove, which you said stinks as an actress.
How is that declassified behind iCarly?
because it's not that good.
Chris, I argued for it.
Yeah.
And Wild
He argued.
Strawberry at C? What?
Yeah, like we weren't really high on it either, but like for
One
Drake
person
and
was
Josh,
high on it, and the rest of us weren't. So sorry. Yeah, it didn't make us level.
Yeah,
No,
and I mean,
Drake
I
and
think
Josh, like, I just
all
thought
the
that
I
they
mean,
had
all
some
the
solid-
actors in Drake and Josh are better in shows that did not have the other actors in it.
But the thing is, like I had solid writing. Like they had like a solid love story with like Josh and the main girl. I forget what the actress
Mindy.
is. And yeah, and like just I don't know, like it really hit well. Like the humor, like one of my favorite scenes is like when they're like playing ping pong and they're like going crazy.
Oh, yes.
Ping pong. Homer's like, "Are you ready to ping the pong?" And they're like doing it back and forth. And like for me, like it's just one of those shows that I grew up watching with all my siblings. Like man, for me, I'd put Drake and Josh high on. Like I'd put it above like Rugrats for me. Like it's like a
No,
like I love
God, no,
No.
God, no, dude.
Absolutely,
What are you
yes.
talking
Drake and
about?
Josh is okay.
I gotta fight
high.
hard for Drake and Josh. It's absolute S tier for me. Like no matter what.
Oh,
Like I don't know if I
God.
can like be okay with it being below S tier. I don't know. Like it's just
Well, I'll argue
Yeah.
for F tier, so that balances out your S tier and puts it in C.
F
So you know,
tier?
so
No
sorry.
way.
Yeah, it's F tier. It's garbage. Dude.
no,
That show's
it's
annoying.
not F tier.
It's annoying.
Like you're not
It's
gonna
one of
put
the
it,
worst
like-
things about later Nickelodeon, man. Like that
No,
show
you're not
is-
gonna put it below like Pete and Pete and like some of those.
You
shows
bet
that
I am.
aren't That good.
Pete and Pete's
No
way
way.
better written than
No
that,
way.
dude, and way better acted.
No,
What are you
like the
talking
writing
about?
from Drake and Josh, like I don't know, it was just solid. Like if you just watch some of the episodes and you hear some of the jokes and the chemistry those two have together too. Like it's one of those things where like my sister was a huge fan of Drake Bell. I wasn't like a huge fan, but like on the show I was, but not really of his music. But he did come for a little concert, and I remember going with my sister. So I actually met Drake Bell, so that was kind of cool. But like at the same time, like I just liked the show overall, though. Like I just thought that it was funny.
Dude,
like, I've been
to
I've
argue
watched multiple
argue
times.
that Drake and Josh have a better chemistry than Pete and Pete, Clarissa
Oh,
and
way
Sam,
better.
Ren and Stimpy, Arnold and what's her name, the girl. Like to argue they have
Not
better
Ren and
chemistry and
Stimpy.
better writing than that, you are high.
I think Ren and Stimpy
You are
belongs in
super
that
high.
tier. I would put
Drake
that
and
above
Josh
it, but
is like, oh god, I don't.
oh man, you guys are killing me though.
I would
Like I'm
put
surprised that you guys are.
Jimmy Neutron
Uh-huh.
S and take well them down.
No,
what?
No,
Jimmy
I wouldn't
Neutron.
do it.
I am
No.
not putting Jimmy Neutron in.
Well then, what else do we got then? If you're not gonna go there, what about
I
Invader
mean, I
Zim?
wish.
Like Invader Zim has a cult following. I don't know. Like I'm not huge on it, but
Haven't
but, like,
haven't
a lot of
seen
people
the
are.
episode.
Yeah,
Cult
brought
following
it
doesn't equal S tier.
Well, they brought it back for a reboot. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
but-
For a
like,
movie, that's
it's good
all.
enough.
but Invaded
Was that
Dim
all it
is
was with the
a
movie?
for someone. I bought Invaded Dim like whenever on. I love Invaded Dim. It's funny. And,
Yeah, same here.
yeah.
What's funny too? Yeah, like I really like it. Like
Yeah.
like I could see it in.
I mean, I saw
I'm not
it
gonna
too.
argue that hard for it.
I still reacting to. I wish I would honor you guys with Dewey Wire Sunberry because I would have put that in B because that is hurting me in C right now.
Yeah.
Because
Well then, I mean,
I think like Hey Honor also have a
I think
really
we've got
um,
I think we've got enough to argue for like a top 10 and some honorable mentions. I think we've got enough up there for it.
Yes.
well, I'm
to
probably
where
not going to
we
get any
can cut it
support for Drake and Josh. When this is over, I'm going to go watch Drake and Josh because I freaking love that show.
You gotta do what you gotta do, Jordan. You enjoy the hell
Yes.
out of Drake and Josh.
I mean,
Absolutely going to do it.
hold on,
Drink
hold
some
on.
soda and watch Drake and Josh.
Oh yeah.
Hey guys,
Yeah, I'm going to dream about my time working in a movie theater. 'Cause that's what they did.
Yes. No, look, I like movie theaters, but I'm sorry, that doesn't make it an S tier.
I mean, you can't put anything into S tier if there's no graphic for you to put it into S tier.
Yeah, you can't
Well,
do
you
that.
create a
You forgot
graphic.
it.
I mean,
I love Drake and Josh. It's S tier, but I left it off my list, my own list.
Well, I meant to have it on there.
bro.
Well, that's just like a.
I mean,
a-
hey, I would
no
argue
oversight.
Hey Honor in that tier, but you guys voted
I
me
mean,
down.
it's no iCarly, but you know
Jimmy
what do I
Neutron,
know?
so
Yeah.
For me, like I don't know, like there's an argument to be made which one's better for me, iCarly or Drake and Josh. I could.
Drake and Josh is way better.
None of
But
them are good.
you forgot about Drake and Josh. You didn't forget about iCarly, so there's your argument right there.
Oh right.
I mean,
Well, like,
he
I didn't really
put Cat
forget about
Scratch and did put Drake and Josh.
How is Cat
Look-
Scratch and B?
Like I,
No.
like I actually have the Drake and
I
Josh
said the same thing about what?
graphic on
Are
my
you talking about,
phone.
Diaz?
Forgot to
None of
add
us
it.
have ever watched Cat Scratch. We didn't put it up there.
And we put
He was the only.
that above
I've
Iron
watched it.
Strawberry?
Cat-
God, no.
Cat
Put
Scratch is
what? We didn't put Cat Scratch is not above there.
hilarious.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
me.
can be.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
See,
Every move.
Yeah, but Wild
Cat Scratch-
Thornberries, I talked about, annoys the shit out of me. So like, I hate Wild
No, but
we
Thornberries.
actually have
had
a
that-
graphic. Drake and Josh, there it is. I just didn't put it on my screen. The graphic
Have
is
fun with
there,
that, bro. We're talking
Yeah.
about the top 10 right now, which is not
Yeah.
in Drake and Josh
Top
included.
10. This is Drake and Josh.
Because I
Yes,
would
it
say
is.
this.
I gotta fight
because-
for it.
Doesn't
But-
annoy me yet, but kind of similar to Hey Arnold. It had that episode that fit with me where Elijah's elephant friend die, and that speech about animal die, and they move on and still get to
Oh,
me
yeah,
every
yeah.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But what do you guys think? What do you guys think about moving Ren and Stimpy up? Like Ren and Stimpy is my
No.
one of my all-time
No.
favorite.
No,
But I'd
Hey
put Ren and
Arnold should move
Stimpy.
up.
I'd put Ren and
Jimmy
Stimpy like
Neutron move up.
above
Jimmy
Rugrats.
Hey
Neutron.
Arnold
Doug.
should move up.
Jimmy
For me,
Neutron
I
should
don't
move
think-
up.
For me, I don't think Doug belongs in that S tier. Like I'm just not a Doug.
Replace Doug with Jimmy
I've done-
Neutron.
Like
I mean,
No,
No.
God, no.
No, like,
Doug
I
is
like
better
Doug
than
better
Jimmy
than-
Neutron, bro.
yeah, it's better than Jimmy
Hey
Neutron. But,
Arnold is better than Doug.
but like what?
Uh-uh.
I don't know. Like I think Ren and Stimpy like at least deserves an honorable mention. I gotta get that. Like come on, we gotta give it.
It's an
Hey
honorable
Arnold
mention
deserves
because it was
an
OG.
honorable mention.
It's OG,
I mean,
so
and
it's an
because-
honorable mention. Yeah, for
And
sure.
because it's an
I mean-
incredible show that still holds up to this day.
No, I agree,
Yes.
but I agree with you.
I mean,
Yeah.
I said it before, so again, for me, when it's to be a dishonorable mention, it's not a good show. It really
Oh,
never
yeah, you
was.
Oh yeah,
I
you
don't
don't like
man,
love
I
Ren
don't
and
know.
Stimpy
F
and
tier,
much
Malcolm.
everybody else does. I mean,
I love
Happy
Jimmy
Walker
Neutron
is
as
a
well.
fun.
So
Well, I mean, what?
I just think like Hey Arnold does so much for like a show.
But you have
that-
to take into account the influence it had on every other show that's come since then, because it absolutely has. It set the precedent for like edgy, crazy, almost adult
But
shows
Rocco
that somehow
does
made
it so
it onto a
much
kids
better
network.
when you compare. Ren
Not
and Stimpy to
necessarily.
Rocco.
Not necessarily. Rocco was a direct, but
Rocco,
you would not
yeah.
have Rocco if it wasn't for Ren and Stimpy. So I mean, like,
Yeah.
and I agree, Rocco may hold up better as like a mainstream show because Ren and Stimpy's a little fringe, which is why we put it down in the honorable mentions. But like, you wouldn't have Rocco if it wasn't for Ren and Stimpy, and you have to give credit to that.
I mean, I would say this. I did love the Rocco movie that came out like I forget how many years ago.
Yeah,
I think
I
it
will-
has to be
I-
at least in consideration for honorable mention. Yeah, it's like
I
it's
would
like
put-
number
yeah. It's gotta be
11 or
considered
12 or
for
something.
sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I would
What
put
about-
Jimmy Neutron honorable mention because of the fan base it has, and also the theme park, the way it impact had on movie, and also the specials and the
I don't know how it ever got a ride. That like that
Yeah,
just blew
it did,
my
But
it
mind.
you
did.
can make the
It
same
actually had an
argument with
attraction.
Bang On Parents and a few other things.
Jimmy
I mean,
Neutron did not really resonate with me, but
I mean,
But, like,
It
what-
didn't really resonate with me either, but you know, yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'd argue I do not hear anyone talking about Jimmy Neutron anymore.
Actually,
No,
they do.
I
There is a
don't.
fan base saying they want revival of it. That's what they're saying.
I'd rather have Revival
Well,
Hey Arnold.
that's why
I
we
mean-
put it in A tier, but I don't think it's on the same level as like Rocco and Rugrats and Doug. It's just not. It doesn't have that same impact and cultural like recognition as those shows do when it comes to Nickelodeon. I think a lot of people even forget that it was a Nickelodeon show. To be honest,
It's the same problem
Yeah,
with Doug
right.
because people and like Doug
Yeah.
with two different channels with Nickelodeon.
With Disney
then-
Channel.
Yeah,
no,
then
everybody
Disney-
knows it's Doug was Nickelodeon though. Like everybody knows
Yeah.
that. Like the
Yeah,
Disney
everybody
thing
knows.
tried to corrupt it, but like we're talking about the
We do
Nickelodeon
not
run.
want to
That's why it's
talk
on the
about-
Nickelodeon
Yeah.
list.
Yeah, and I mean, as I said, when to do it for the way I'm doing it is I'm just focusing on the Nickelodeon aspect of Doug.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
everyone remembers it as a Doug show because I know that when they added the movie on Disney Plus, I saw a lot of people going, "Why the hell is Doug on Disney Plus? It is Nickelodeon."
right.
So
It's a Nickelodeon show. Yeah, it should be on. Well, it's
Did you
on.
not talk
It's on
about
Paramount. Well, it's on the Paramount Plus thing with all the other Nickelodeon stuff. The original run is those first four
It's the
seasons.
reason
So
why
like they tried to separate it.
also the original Doug is on Nickelodeon and on Paramount Plus. The
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was
Disney
saying.
version,
Yeah. 'cause it's
nobody can
Nickelodeon.
find the Disney version of the TV
Yeah,
show.
right.
I believe it's
For good
on
reason.
Disney
Yeah.
Plus as well. The Disney version of it. I believe
don't
it
think-
is.
The-
I am
Maybe
moving
guys-
out. I will settle this. I'm looking it up on this Plus right now.
Yeah, right. But
Yeah.
like, what do you guys think
keep
about
talking
about
while
putting
I'm
Pete and Pete in the S tier? Like,
I think
like,
Pete and
Doug
Pete is
is
better
on the
to
show.
figure it out. I think Pete and Pete's better to figure it out. I think Pete and Pete's way above
I'll
figure
go
it
check
out.
as well.
we could do that. But
I
like,
think it's like honorable
like-
mention, at least.
Yeah,
like you guys
same.
are talking about Doug. I'm not even a huge fan. I'd put Pete and Pete in the S tier and move Doug down to the honorable mention.
I kind of agree,
Here.
but only because but Doug is like, again, it's the cornerstone of Nick. It's like what influenced all these other ones, and like it has that
It's a
lasting
cornerstone, but is
legacy.
it good?
More-
Is it any good?
But
That's
it
the
no,
thing.
it holds up. It holds up.
Uh-huh.
It's good.
All right.
I mean, and but again, it's more accessible than Pete and Pete as well. Like I said, I think Pete and Pete would be an S tier if it was more available. The problem is it's kind of hard to watch. So like it's kind of hard to put it in there because like not as
I would
many
go
people
back
have
and watch-
seen it because of that.
Look, I'd go back and rewatch anything in the S tier and the A tier besides Jimmy Neutron over Doug. So like I would rewatch it all. So
I
that's
just
my
checked.
thought.
I just checked on Disney Plus. Doug is on there, the movie and TV show.
Oh wow!
But which seasons of the TV show though?
Yeah,
I don't think they have the first
I
four
was-
seasons.
Three seasons of it.
Yeah, it's probably just the later ones, right?
But it's just the
yeah.
Disney ones.
It
From
is-
96 to 98.
Yeah, that's only the.
Yes, that's it. That's what we're talking about.
That's-
Because the
yeah.
91 to 94 run is the Nickelodeon run, and then it
That's what I'm
moved
talking
to
about.
Disney.
The Disney version's on Disney Plus. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, no. Paramount has
Yeah.
the original version. Disney has the second generation version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, that's what we're talking about. Yeah.
What about moving Hey
So-
Arnold up to an honorable mention, like, and moving Figure It Out of there? Like, we could do that.
Yeah.
I would move Figure It out of honorable mentions totally. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Like I'd be
Yeah.
okay with putting Hey Arnold. That's the one I would go for. But
You guys can
Yeah.
fight over Hey Arnold versus Jimmy Neutron. I don't care either way. If you want to switch those, that's up to
I
you.
mean, we had
No.
those two.
I couldn't argue.
I mean, we had Hey Arnold and Jimmy Neutron in S earlier when he first started.
Not really. They were always an A because we kind of agreed on A. I was just talking
Yeah.
about whether it makes the honorable mention, because usually we have 3 honorable mentions to go with the top 10. So
Yeah,
would you guys
well,
fight it?
3.
I'm not strong either way, so I would say you guys fight over Hey Arnold or Jimmy Neutron. Like, which one do you prefer?
I would say based
I-
on. I would say based on the fan base alone, I see more people talk about Jimmy Neutron more than Hey Arnold. Based on fan base alone.
I
No,
kind
but
of agree.
think-
unless there's anything else.
No. Oh no.
There's really not. Maybe Fairly Odd Parents. I don't know.
Every once in a while, I've seen like the Jimmy Neutron and Very Odd Parents crossover, but I think hang on a lot on TV these days when
Yes.
I'm Nick at night.
Yeah, same. I see.
Um,
I see Hey Arnold on TV way more in reruns. It's more-
Yeah, I mean,
more of
it's it's one of those ones. With Hey, I've probably seen more people wanting a revival of Hey Arnold than anything. But what I was going to say is, I'm actually going to propose maybe Figure It Out as the third honorable mention. In that way, you've got 3 distinct different types of shows, because you got one animated show, you got one live action, you got one game show. So I mean, I
That
think
is
for
true.
honorable mentions, that might be fair to have something from like kind of each different realm as
How many honorable mentions do we
that's just me. They
3.
normally have
Yeah,
3,
three.
is what they said.
Yeah.
So.
no.
Yeah, but
I
all
mean,
these
I
are
read
go into a
me-
poll tomorrow in the Schwinner and Friends and Family group, and then people will vote. So
I mean, I read it then to. I'm not a big Ren and Stimpy fan.
I'm a huge Ren and Stimpy fan. Like, oh man,
But I think you're kind of alone on that, though. So, like, it's one of those things, unfortunately.
that's my favorite show
outvoted.
out of all of these. Number
Yeah.
one is Ren and Stimpy for
I mean, I forgot to say, I'm kind of surprised. I mean,
not only a
because,
fan. I'm like love that show. It's like a huge part of my childhood.
I think the honorable
But-
mentions we have right now are pretty solid. I would kind of leave them where they're at.
Yeah, that's probably solid. But like, here's another question: how do we want to rank our top 10? Do we want to like?
Well, we'll talk about it. Well, dude, SpongeBob for me is not like killed classic Nickelodeon. It's not number 1 because it killed
It is
Nickelodeon.
number 1.
It killed
Man.
Nickelodeon. It killed classic Nickelodeon. It became Nickelodeon became the SpongeBob network. So that totally
same thing
kills it for number 1 for me.
But at the same time, like, it's the most iconic thing about Nickelodeon. It's what people
you
think.
think-
about when
No,
they
it's
think
not.
Nickelodeon.
It's
You
not the
think
most
SpongeBob.
iconic thing in Nickelodeon.
If you think about Nickelodeon, you think about SpongeBob. That's right.
Yeah,
Because
It's always the
person that
SpongeBob
comes to mind.
killed Nickelodeon. That's why
Yeah.
people think about it, because it took over and
SpongeBob
became
and
the
Very
SpongeBob
Odd
network.
Parents killed Nickelodeon. I mean,
SpongeBob killed Nickelodeon. It had like a couple of good seasons, and then it dropped off, and they just kept marketing the crap out of it. It became a corporate entity.
After the movie, and that.
Well, the reason why though, like, it's probably like getting the most views or something. There's got to be a reason.
I understand it's getting the most views, but to me, it's not nostalgic Nickelodeon. It's not nostalgic Nickelodeon because it's still on. How is it nostalgic if it's still on?
Well, it depends which generation you come from. I mean, some of these guys are 2000, and that's what was big at that time, you know. So it's hard to really say,
it's one of those ones. It's getting the most views because it's shoved down our faces. I mean,
that's what I'm talking about. I love. That's all they play.
Even I would not have that at number one. Like for me,
that's all they play. So that's all people watch.
For me, my number one out of that 10. And this would be really close, but for me, number one would be Kenan and Kel. It's the one show I grew up with, and the one I really loved.
I would go more for all that than Kenan and Kel because it gave us Kenan and Kel.
I would go for SpongeBob.
I would go for all that.
I'd be
okay with having all that
because all that gave us spun off Kenan and Kel and gave us Kenan and Kel. That's why. That's why I would put all that above Kenan and Kel. I think it was more creative than Kenan and Kel, and it was more consistently. Good than
which one came first though? Was it Kenan and Kel or was it all that?
All that was first because all that became first because Kenan and Kel was like 4 years after all that.
I mean, I'm not a Kenan.
Okay.
I think Kenan and Kel is mine show. I think all that better. I know we never rate that. I think the Amanda show were better than Kenan and Kel. There's so many things that are better.
No, the Amanda show is good. Yeah. Probably I wouldn't make it in the S tier, but I could give Amanda's show a solid A tier.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Oh, thank you.
Hate that show.
I'm a big Amanda Bynes fan. I even watched her sitcom. What I like about
it's not in the same. It's not even in the same league as all that, bro. It's like minor league compared to major league. All that, dude. It's not even in the same league. No way. But all that's all that's number one in my book for sure.
I can't tell.
When you think Nickelodeon, right, and everything about Nickelodeon, because you think about Kenan and Kel, right, but they were a part of all that. So it's like quintessential Nickelodeon. They had everything. It had the variety. It had the SNL aspect. It had the characters. It had the cast members. It had everything that you wanted in like a Nickelodeon comedy.
But can you name any other cast members besides Kenan and Kel? Can you? Because I can't.
Yes, I can name all of them. Josh Server, Lisa Reyes, Katrina Johnson, Angelique Bates, Danny Tamborelli, Lori Beth Denberg.
Amanda
Bynes.
Bynes.
After doing a bunch of research, what about the average person? You ask 10 people on the street, like who they could name from all that, it'd be Kenan and Kel. They couldn't name anything.
And they would name Lori Beth as well and Josh Server. 100%. And Amanda Bynes came from all that.
I mean,
Amanda Bynes came from all that.
Well, that's the thing. It depends on when you ask them. If you ask them now, chances are you're going to get someone.
But if you asked them back then, they knew everybody. You ask them back when they were a kid.
I mean, you add them to name something for all that, you get Rocket the Good Burger.
You get Good Burger out of all that. That's where it came from.
Fuck that movie.
I mean, plus also you get Gabriel Iglesias and Nick Cannon as well from all that.
Nick Cannon was on all that. Yes.
Yeah. Well, but this is.
How even the new show not that bad.
I didn't even know Kenan and Kel were on all that because I watched Kenan and Kel first. Then I discovered all that from Nickelodeon. So I mean, it's one of those.
They still have it running today. The new show not that bad. I think some episodes are not that bad.
Well, I think what we got to do is we got to put Kenan and Kel here. We got to leave SpongeBob at 2.
Yes.
And then probably Legend of the Hidden Temple and Double Dare.
Flip Double Dare.
That's a solid
flip around.
Top 5.
I mean, for me, I'd put Rugrats above both Double Dare Legends.
I put Rugrats above Kenan and Kel.
I'll put Rugrats behind Kenan. Put number 4 Rugrats.
Hold on. Let's take these a little bit. Let's take these a little bit at a time. We're kind of like bouncing all over the place, a little bit at a time. So we got to kind of go up the list and say like one or the other. You know what I mean? So like, I understand you guys are arguing for SpongeBob. I just because of the fact that it's still on, I can't put it under nostalgia shows as number 1. That's like my primary argument. It's not a classic Nickelodeon show because
enough argument between the rest.
No. I'm saying number 2 is fine. No. You got like the audience when they talk about the polls will prove me right that SpongeBob is not the greatest of all time. So we'll leave it to that. And but okay, so Kenan and Kel versus Rugrats.
Kenan and Kel's better.
No, Rugrats is
I think
much
Kenan and Kel.
better.
Yeah,
Here you go.
I mean, when I think
Malcolm?
of shows that remember,
I mean, I love both of these shows. I'll still go Kid and Kel over Rugrats.
I mean,
Oh.
I guess Chris is like Orange Soda then.
You might be the lone Austin.
because
Sorry.
I just like when
No,
I
no,
think
no.
of
I
Roman,
no.
I think of the
I'm just
Monday
getting
episode,
I'm just getting a poll. Remember, I'm just taking it slow at a time. I'm okay with
Here's
Kenan and
the
Kel
thing,
being
I'm
above
actually-
Rugrats. I'm okay.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
I
would
just-
actually argue Kid and Kel above SpongeBob.
Oh,
Really?
No.
Austin is
Maybe.
actually drawing
I'd
me
be
to
okay
his
with
side.
that.
Like, it is one of those ones that SpongeBob may be the longest running Nickelodeon show, but
It is because it's still on.
yeah, well, I was just going to get to my point, but it's also one of those ones that when you're thinking back, like, well, yes, you do think back to the earlier days of SpongeBob. It is still on. Kenan and Kel is one you have nostalgia for more because it's been ages since I've been on. So I know ever since Kenan's got his own show, one of the things people are saying is, I wonder when Kel's going to guest star on it. I think there's actually an interview with Kel asking about if he's going to consider appearing on it. So,
I mean,
but yeah,
they appear together on Slice Show.
Yeah, and if we're talking like classic nostalgia, like I'd probably put Kenan and Kel above SpongeBob as far as classic goes. As far as overall the best and the most like beloved, maybe it's SpongeBob, but this is classic we're talking about. So maybe
I
Kenan
know,
and Kel.
but you go to somebody at say, like name a quote for Kenan and Kel. Nobody would name a quote. If they ask you to name a quote for SpongeBob,
Yes, Orange
people
Soda.
will-
Orange Soda.
Orange
Yeah.
soda.
quote-
The orange soda stuff is
No, but
everybody
people
knows.
would quote. But people would quote
Why?
my song for SpongeBob.
Why?
Like I've
I mean,
been
I'm
in
fine
the
either
room
way.
with people that
Yes,
would
I really
think-
don't care.
Yeah.
yes, but that's the thing though. People remember SpongeBob because SpongeBob's still on and rerun to death. And the classic quality has fallen off a lot since the first
Yes.
The thing that they
season.
Well, and
like,
Malcolm, when it originally came on there, Malcolm, when it originally came on the list, right? I talked about how it had a Simpsons problem. It's been on for way too long. They have overstayed their welcome, and the fact that they're still on, it's a problem.
Yeah.
And it's a problem when you're talking about nostalgia.
Yeah, it's the same problem we said the same thing with Fairy Odd Family with Ryan
He's like
B.
way out of SpongeBob.
It overstayed. It
And
overstayed its
also,
welcome.
don't forget, SpongeBob has some bad episodes as well. Kenan and Kel didn't really have that much bad episodes.
Yeah, I mean,
I barely remember it.
I'm fine either way. Like maybe we want to move Kenan and Kel up. I mean,
Over to SpongeBob, yes, please.
yeah.
I put all of those above SpongeBob.
Can I-
but that's just
Can
me.
I add?
Whatever.
Can we move Rocco above Doug, please?
I'd be fine with that. Yeah, like I'm not even.
I'm actually kind of okay with that. Rocco holds
I'm
up
okay
pretty
with
good.
that.
Rocco holds up well.
I have
Yeah, I
no
mean,
sons.
yeah, well,
Honestly, I think that's a solid tier where it's at. I like that ranking. I don't know about you guys.
I kind of like these rankings overall.
I like
them.
it. I
I'm
like
okay
it
with
a
that.
lot.
It's funny we had 2 shows, about 3 shows that's still running. 4 shows that's still running.
Yeah, well, I think that's a solid I think that would be our top 10 unless anyone has any objections. So
I'm okay with those in the honorable mentions. Yeah, for sure.
I'm okay with
Yeah.
that.
I just happy I got Leon on the honorable mention.
I got three S here, so
yeah, right. So
Mm.
also we're nearly at the 3-hour mark, so it's been a long show. It's probably pretty late for you East Coasters, so we'll just wrap it up here. But usually I just like to just kind of just go over the top 10 and honorable mention. But Austin, since you're the co-host, do you want to break down our top 10? Just read them
I'll
out.
break it down. So we've got all that at number 1. We've got Kenan and Kel at number 2. SpongeBob SquarePants at number 3. We've got Rugrats at number 4. We've got the Legends of the Hidden Temple at number 5. Double Dare number 6. Are You Afraid of the Dark at number 7. Number 8. Rocco's Modern Life. Number 9. Guts. Number 10. Doug. And a couple honorable mentions for Ren and Stimpy, Pete and Pete, and Hey Arnold.
All right, awesome. So yeah, this has been a fun time. Just kind of getting into a little bit of nostalgia. So, especially preparing for this episode, I got to go back and watch a lot of stuff. Now I'm going to be the only person on Earth to go watch some Drake and Josh after this. So I'll be doing that.
for me, some Jimmy Neutron.
Yeah, right. You can go do that. Yeah.
Sunberry.
Should all go watch our most favorite show that didn't get the love it deserved on this list. I'll go watch it after this. But yeah, so I'm just gonna go around the panel, and you can just let everyone know where we can find you, and if you have anything to promote, you can go for it. So Chris Diaz, where can the people find you?
You find me on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Stay tuned for Wednesday go up. I had an interesting match against Andrew James Ball and opening night trivia. They have an interesting result that may surprise you. And you can find me. I also have a team match coming up pretty soon in TV fight over multiplex. I teaming up with Richard and TV fight team. And you can find me anywhere. You can find me also Monday night. If I get picked, we got Kevin Marie Picture Trivia. Sign up if you can at TMD. We love to have new people on there. Bye.
Nice. I need to go and bug those guys because I've had 2 matches for TMG. There's one match where they did all movies from like the 40s, the 30s, 40s, and 50s, which is not my wheelhouse. So I'm just kind of just luck of the draw. But then I had one match that came down to the 5-pointer, so I just lost at that. But anyways, Malcolm, where can the people find you?
You can find me over on Take 3 Productions, where I host a show called Ranking, where we make a collective top 12 list on any topic. This week is going to be top 12 WrestleMania entrances. You can find me over on Full Metal Trivia, where I host various trivia. I host Full Metal Classic, which is normally on Sundays, but it's not on this week because it is Easter this week and it's family time. And I also host Full Metal Random, and we're doing a Studio Ghibli match.
Ooh, nice. That sounds fun. And then Brian, where can the people find you?
Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. I do Wiz Quiz on Thursday. This is run by Wizard World. I appear on Schmo Talks when I'm asked to be on. I do rank them when there's good topics to be on a part of the panel, and sometimes on Tier Record Fights where there's some good topics that I'm invited on.
Cool. Sounds good. And then Austin, where can we find you?
Movie Hero Pez on Twitter. Our other show that Jordan and I co-host, Live from Movie Hero, talking about SNL episodes and classic stuff of that nature. And Malcolm, just to let you know, I don't know if you know this, I've refereed professional wrestling for 16 years, excuse me. So you might want to have me on when you do some wrestling, man, because I actually know a lot of those guys, and I've so it's a thing where I'm a big wrestling expert and fan. So just letting you know. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm all over the Schmodown friends and family page too, so you'll see me commenting on stuff and doing all that. So that's about it for me.
Awesome. Yeah, and you can find me all over the Movie Hero Network. We actually I did a really cool interview for our 1B200 series with Austin. I'm actually in the process of doing a few little edits on it. I have all the edits done, but now the file is way too big to upload onto YouTube because we went about 2.5 hours. So I got to do some compressing, just make the file a little smaller, and it'll be up. So probably look for that tomorrow. I think it should pop up on the channel. You get a little deep look into the life of Austin here, and then so next week for Tier Ranker Fight, we're gonna have a really cool episode. We're going to be doing the best and worst horror movies of the 2000s, and we're going to have Nerd Chronic on. We're going to have Andres Gallegos and also William the Beast Bibiani. They're all going to join me for that. So that's going to be a pretty fun episode. We're also going to have a couple guys from Ireland that are part of the Sherlock reel. So if anyone's ever done that,
I was on last week, so
yeah. So like it's so it's 2 Irish friends, Ted and Greg. They're going to join me for that. So that should be a fun time. And then you can find me all over the Showdown Friends and Family group. If you ever have anything that you want to promote, you can promote all your content in that page. We always are pretty open to that, and we always talk Schmodown. So we'll be having some discussions about these matches that just happened this week. There's some pretty fun ones. So, but yeah, this has been a great time. We're going to put up the poll tomorrow over on the Showdown Friends and Family. We're going to see what the fans think of of our ranking, what they have to say, and
I already know what the commentary say of what we're missing.
Same here.
Well, you know, everybody has their own favorites, so it's always going to be a comment about why didn't you guys include this? Why isn't this an S tier? Because it's all, you know, again, these are all personal preferences, but the whole point of the tier ranker fights is trying to come to some kind of consensus and arguing it out and making your best debates, and that's the fun of it, is trying to. It's tough to come up with a top 10, especially for classic stuff like this. It's really tough, and as you can see, we went 3 hours debating all this stuff. So I mean, it's
anybody
tough.
wondering? Go watch the beginning of why one such a Nickelodeon show was included.
Yeah, right.
Which I know the commentary be angry about that tomorrow.
Yeah, and I'm sure that you get that every week, Malcolm. Like with your, you're like, why isn't this show on the list? Why isn't that show on the list? Like a lot of those comments. Yep, I see those pop up.
If SpongeBob makes #1 in the polls, I will come on the show and profusely apologize to all of you.
All right, we'll see what happens, because
we'll see what happens.
I mean, now that you said that, you're going to probably make another one just to spite.
Oh yeah, no, everybody's going to do it just to spite me. Everybody's going to do it just to hear me growl.
I bet you all comment be like SpongeBob quote all the time.
I know y'all are going to all in there and change your VPNs and your IP addresses so you can vote over and over again and outvote everybody. Yeah,
right.
Definitely, right.
But yeah, so yeah, we'll have a fun episode next week, and then I'm going to post the schedule for all the upcoming topics. We got a whole list of topics we want to cover. We're going to be
superheroes.
We're going to do some superhero movies. We're going to be doing best and worst from Leonardo DiCaprio movies, and we got that coming up. Then
sequels.
We got sequels. Yeah. So we got quite a few fun categories coming up. So we'll definitely let you know when those are going to air. So, but yeah, for tier ranker fights, for Chris Diaz, for Malcolm Lay, Austin, Pez, and Brian Nussbaum, I've been Jordan Movie Hero Anderson, and we'll see you next time.